It's the most incredible feeling to be here. This is live.
Live.
WildEarth takes you on daily intimate experiences in nature live.
This is a very, very different adventure, charged with emotion.
Join expert guides as they search for Africa's most iconic animals.
How awesome is this? She's coming right past our vehicle. Take a closer look here.
Oh, careful. Oh, no.
Ask your host questions and have them answered in real time. Join us live every day on WildEarth. This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Jumbo, and a very good afternoon, everyone. It's another rainy afternoon we have here, and we're already set out here in the plains. And welcome to your afternoon live safari. Well, Jumbo everyone, and welcome to the beautiful Masai Mara. And here we are at the plains, ready to bring you this life's journey. And we have Eland to start with on this riparian beautiful marsh close to the Olololo gate. Jumbo everyone, my name is Isaac, and on camera I have Bungay. This afternoon we're here set out at this beautiful marsh to bring you this live safari. Remember to talk to us on hashtag WildEarth. Questions and comments are really welcome. Remember, I'm joined in by my colleagues in other locations, so they'll be introducing themselves shortly. It's already raining, and this has become the sort of norm, as the weatherman predicted. There was a 57% chance of raining this afternoon, and he was right on. This afternoon the temperature is around 27 degrees Celsius, and it's going to be dropping very fast because of this rain. These rains, we call them the short rains, and we normally expect them. They don't last very long, only a very short time. Here I have a very beautiful herd of eland and zebra, and looks like they are getting away from the rain, or maybe going towards where the grass is shorter, because this is an area that is frequented by hyena and lion, and maybe they know that. Looks like they're very busy heading out. Eland, it is our largest antelope in Africa, found in the Horn of Africa all the way to southern Africa. It is the largest bovid we have. It's a grazer and a browser, and can weigh up to almost a ton. This is a herd of mixed males and females, but the one way back there is a male. He's got a beautiful dewlap. Dewlap is Sassy Kazi, thank you for your beautiful comment. Yes, it is quite beautiful over here. I've run out of the angle for this animal, so I'm going to try and turn the vehicle. They have gone beyond our reach, and we have to turn the vehicle slightly. I don't know if you can see that now. And also we have a very beautiful rainbow to the right. But thank you, Sassy, for your comment. It is such a beautiful afternoon, and looks like the rain is going to subside and it's going to look very, very beautiful. Well, I'm gonna get out of this rain, hopefully, and while I do that, let me take you to another live safari vehicle.
Good afternoon and welcome to andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. Sounds like they're having a glorious afternoon in the Masai Mara there, and hoping the rain will subside. We've got a lovely hot afternoon on our hands, very few clouds in the sky, and as you can see, the animals are enjoying this afternoon as well. This female cheetah has managed to successfully make a kill, and both her and her cubs are now going to feed wonderfully this afternoon. My name is Kim, and behind the camera we have Gert, and we will be with you this afternoon. You can actually hear in the distance there a greater hunter-guide, which has been calling the whole time we've been here. You can see both the cubs are actually trying to feed at the same time now. And it's one of the wonderful things about cheetahs. They are actually quite, what's the word? You know, they share their food. Very, very different to lions, in that lions will often fight over a carcass and growl and scratch at each other while they're feeding. Cheetah are very understanding, and they will feed beautifully alongside each other. So these are the same cheetah that you saw earlier this morning at andBeyond Phinda. Sure, you saw that they were quite active this morning, and certainly we were right in predicting that they were going to try and hunt. Amazing. Look at the back now. Look at that cub going right into that carcass, and you can actually see what looks like a bit of the stomach now protruding out the back there. And what's going to be interesting is to see if these cubs have learned wonderfully from their mother not to puncture those organs. Cheetah don't feed on the stomach or the intestine, because if they were to break that skin, it would make an incredibly pungent smell and would attract other predators into the area. And in fact, it's very integral that they don't do that at the moment, because there was a pride of lion that was seen in this area this morning, so they've got to be very careful. We're going to stay here and appreciate the sighting and see what they get up to.
Good afternoon, everybody. Afternoon, back here in Djuma Private Game Reserve in Sabi this afternoon, where the temperature for the day it's about 93 Fahrenheit, 34 degrees, which is highly little warmer for animals to come very much active. But we got these beautiful elephants, and my name's Andrew on camera this afternoon. That's thereon. See his thumbs up already. Yeah, so this is how we're going to be taking you to the safari life, standing with this beautiful young bull elephant feeding right in front of us. It looks like he's just been into a waterhole by looking at the color of him. He's kind of have a mixed, kind of very inside of a skin, attached to a very wet, but very much out layer. It's kind of like picking up its normal color of elephant, which is kind of like a dry out, the mud that he just hasn't to be. Probably been into water, I think. So we're standing right there, surrounded by this beautiful grazing valley area for the elephants, of course. He find himself like this young bull, still looking young bull to me when I look at him. Probably in his early, probably 20 years, somewhere there. And for him to able to find himself separate, it's because of the feeding habitation for them. This time of the year, it's all green grass is available for all elephants, and there's not such a mission for them to able to have a competition for feed. And then I have to hunt for grasses. And that's what makes a lot of difference to a cat. Carnivores and the herbivores, which grasses, they all walk over it and eat again and again. So he's probably going to be joining the other group soon. as you walk right behind these bushes, he's going to just come up on the other side. And they won't actually stand still for long, because then they need to get all fresh grasses all around them. Green that take place just because of the rain we had last week. And it's a lot of beneficial for these type of animals to sustain their body weight. Such a heavy, massive body animals. Because for them to be able to get enough feed, you have to stand and move. Majority of the time, elephants eat and move very short period, and we're just gonna stand still.
Well, the rain is still raining, but it hasn't deterred me from, exposing this Eland that are on a mission. They're heading somewhere, and I've caught up with them. It looks like it's a small breeding herd. No young ones yet, though this is the time of the year that we should be seeing lots and lots of young ones. So this herd here, maybe they will have some young ones this month, and next month we normally see quite a lot of young ones. But I can see there are some males that are going around checking the females. Maybe also, some females are coming into season. They didn't get into season on time. Yes, this animal is a grazer and a browser, and so they are very successful in survival, because they can live where there is bushes and also where there is plenty of grass. Very shy, always tries to get away from, humans or lions. Mostly humans try and get away, and all their senses are very, very good. It is very heavy and cannot run very fast, but to get away from most predators, it is a very high jumper. It can jump almost 20 feet in the air with ease, and also about, 12 meters, which is 36 feet. So it is a very high jumper. In fact, they have been known to jump, over a Land Cruiser or a Land Rover. Look at this beauty, the stripy butchels or the common zebra. They are very common. Always, I can go for a day without seeing them, and they go in big dozens of up to 10, up to 12, mostly, that number.
And we just sitting with these beautiful cheetah, enjoying the fruits of their labor for this afternoon. You can see that one cub at the back is really getting in there. And you can actually, I don't know if you can hear that sound there. If you notice how he positioned his head, he almost put the skin of this Impala right at the back on those back teeth. And they've got scissor-like teeth at the very back of their mouths, and that enables them to cut through the skin really easily. So you can hear a combination of like a cutting sound and also a breaking sound, because he's now currently going through the ribs. Now I'm assuming this is the male. There's a female and a male cub, and he just looks a little bit bigger to me, and I would assume also that the male might generally be the one to feed first. So that's why I'm thinking that is the male cub. But we'll have to wait till he gets up to get a proper check. You can see also licking that blood at the moment. Oh, beautiful. Has a bit of blood on his chin there. And licking up all that moisture. You get a lot of moisture from that blood. In fact, they spend quite a few days after they fed because of the moisture in the blood. Yeah, now these cheetah cubs, if we have a look at the hair on the back of them, they're quite long. You know, when they get to about 2 years old, they'll start losing that hair. Also the fact that they're still with the mother. You know, the cheetah cubs leave when they're about 17 to 18 months. So we know that they are younger than that, still reliant on her. And in fact, we know that these cubs were born in February, so they are about 8 months now, both of these cheetah cubs. So that's whereabouts they are. It's always a little bit to tell the exact age of cheetah because we're not sure when they first found how long they've been out of their den site. And they generally den with the mother. The mother hides them in a thicket of grass for the first 3 months or so. But we think they were born around February, so close to 8 months. Such beautiful little cheetah. And it's wonderful to see them feeding. And what's also lovely, remember I said, I don't know if they've learned from the mother not to puncture those organs, and you can see the stomach on the bottom there, and the intestines on the top being very carefully fed around. So they've clearly learned quite well from their mother. So we are going to take you to another live location, and we'll stick around and you'll see us again shortly.
Okay, so we managed to find the Birmingham Pride again. So our plan was to come here and watch them as they're eating the carcass. But somehow, these 11 lions managed to eat the entire giraffe this morning. And there's nothing left. We went there, myself and Odie, and there is just bone. But, as you can see now, there is another giraffe. There's some silly reason. It's kept coming closer and closer and closer. So, potentially, our afternoon safari here at andBeyond Ngala could get quite interesting. Although I would be very impressed if any of these lions can actually run. They are all looking very, very fat, and it is very, very hot at the moment. We're sitting on about 38 degrees Celsius here, about 9 something. So you with me, Sean, and we've got the OD behind the camera. We are both just trying to stay alive, stay hydrated, watch these cats, see what they're doing, try and do what they do, find a patch of shade. But right now we wanted to get that shot with the lions over here. The giraffe in the background, there's a few vultures circling around us. Now they all went to go look at what was left of the giraffe. And I think we saw maybe 3 hooves, and that was about it. And these lions did a very thorough job. Very surprising how close this other giraffe is actually coming. I mean, it obviously knows the lions are here. The lions are not necessarily hiding. They're all in the open. But giraffes are quite interested, curious animals. They will come and have a look. They think as long as they can see the predator, they are safe. So we are just going to sit here, keep an eye on the situation.
Well, I haven't gone very far because the rain hasn't stopped. I'm still with my Eland and zebra, and it looks like a very peaceful scene I am having here. A little bit more about the Eland is that it is an antelope and lives up to around 20 years in the wild. I assume it will live longer, maybe by 5 years in captivity. And it carries its young for about 9 months. And usually young ones are born in daylight, mostly hidden in long grass or thickets. They do form creches, which is, the easy term would be a babysitting class where females would hide their young ones, and a few of them will take care of the young ones as, most of them feed, and every now and then one would go back to suckle, their young. Here is a very big, beautiful tree. It's very wet, so I'm not gonna go and hug it. This is Kegelia africana, or the sausage tree. This is a tree that is very famous for very many things in Africa. First of all, you see the fruit. It hangs right in there like a sausage. It's quite big, and all those hanging there are ready fruits. They will be becoming sausages in the coming months. mainly eaten by baboons and rhinos. They love them. This tree is actually endangered in some parts of Africa because the trunk makes a very good dugout canoes. Because it's hollow, it's easier work, and you can tell why it is endangered. This fruit, locally here in Kenya, we make a wine-like beer that if you mix with barley and leave it to cook, using brown sugar for a few days, it makes a very good concoction. And if you're not careful, if you take a good number of glasses, you can speak even Mongolian. So it is quite lethal, and it's got very many uses. Leopards love this tree because Finak, Jumbo, are Eland the only heaviest antelopes? Well, there are others, they're all antelopes, including buffalo, but they are ranked the heaviest. Buffalo is second, and then we do have, I think the third one would be Ngala or Kudu. Greater Kudu would be the third one, and then they drop down to Bongo, which is a rare antelope found in the Aberdares in Kenya and the forest of the Congo. So it is not the only one. That is a female and looks like she's feeling cold, so she is chewing her cud. Remember, they have 4-chambered stomachs, and so when they fill up one, they'll just stop and automatically regurgitate and fully utilize all the nutrients that are on what they have fed. Usually they they swallow after chewing it and properly utilizing, making it as smooth as possible. Then automatically another ball is pushed back towards the mouth. Bungei, I don't know if you noticed that one that just passed. She's very thin. I don't know what happened to her. Look at her. Yeah, let's have a look. She's got a beautiful set of horns, but definitely she's gone through something. Maybe she knows we're talking about her and she won't come out. Those birds that flew are oxpeckers, and it is common to see them on top of zebras and eland cleaning up, ticks and mites. Look at her, she's quite thin. I would say, she is older, she's not sick. She's done very well. She's done very well. Maybe she's one of those that beats the age, we say in the books, because she looks very oldish to me. Yeah, but the rest looks like they are taking care of her, and she loves being around them, so there is no problem about predators.
Beautiful back here again. There are beautiful young bull elephant. He just now get close to us. You can see how he's trying to reach these little branches. And the first time when he gets here, he was feeding on very much grasses. And for a change, he's now taking the leaves from the trees. Since it's all new shoots for him, and it's a lot easy to test. Every trees, they have a different taste, individual, and they have a preference when it comes to that in this type of area, where there's a lot of different type of trees. Big trees they will go for, deep bark, big trees as and knobthorns, the deep bark on marula as well, but a lot of time they bark on knobthorn just because of the layer between the bark and wood. It's very juicy and tasty, sweet sometimes. And that kind of destruction happens during the winter time. Rosalind, good afternoon. Welcome to your beautiful show this afternoon. You want to know how many elephants in Djuma that I'm not sure. We receive a lot of different herds in this area, whole entire Sabi from the south, also northeast part of the western end of Kruger National Park. They all come into this area. So when I'm saying different herds, in one herd you find maybe 20 or 18, sometimes 30 possibly. And of course, very difficult animals to be able to identify. If this animal that stick around in the area, you're able to identify your individual group that you will know of every time you come across them. So yeah, it's quite a few herds around here that move in and out in this area. It looks like you're just gonna move away from us, but this is not all about getting away from us. It's so that, you know, the grasses attract him so much. So every time as you look far distances, it's all challenges for him because it's green more than where he is. So that's what makes him move like that. So he's probably going to be going to join the other group later on, which we're not sure how far the other group is. He hasn't even contact since we get here. And then just going to watch him, see what he does for us. But anyway, it's going to be hopefully move away from him or we go away.
Well, different angle on a beautiful rainbow. I don't know if you can see it. Yes, and I think down there is a pot of gold. The problem is I cannot get out of the vehicle to go and fetch it. Yes, it's a beautiful scene that I have here, set, you know, by these beautiful zebra that are very happy, wagging their tails, the rainbow, and also the plains overlooking the Greater Mara. It has been raining a little bit, but it is subsiding, so it's a beautiful, you know, scene that I have here. And these zebras seems to be very, very happy where they are. They're actually on a high ground, so they can see most predators approaching them. They can see opposite, you know, towards the rainbow. They can see where I am, so it's a very, very strategic spot for them. During this time of the year, we expect this kind of rains that I've had this afternoon. I'm hoping that it will be the last until tonight. When I go to camp, it can rain. The rainbow actually stretches, you know, quite a long ways. It's almost complete, but we cannot share everything with you because the angle is not that good. You see that? It's a beautiful rainbow. And looks like somebody's still getting some rain quite a long ways away. I can't see all the colors of the rainbow, but I can see, I think, purple, blue, green, yellow, red. I think those are the ones I see. The rest are somewhere in there. Yes, and the light is just superb. I have a few birds that are making noise behind me, and apart from that, it is very peaceful. Just to give you an idea of how quiet it is, I'll go quiet for 2 seconds or 3 seconds or 4. Yes, that's how quiet it is, and I'm not complaining. I'm loving it. It's very peaceful. The temperature has dropped slightly, and I think it's going to drop a little bit more. Jumbo Patricia, thank you for your comment. Beautiful scene. Indeed it is. Perfect words to phrase that. Maybe we should have more, how would you caption this if it was you. You know, beautiful, beautiful scene. We've had that. Maybe we could have some more captions for this. It's actually a very beautiful scene. It looks like those postcards we used to receive, you know, a long time ago. We used to have this kind of scene. Well, these zebras looks like they're very happy and scattered. Usually, if they're spooked, you'll find them close together. But you know, they're very spaced out. It means that they are loving this area. Well, I'm gonna enjoy this spot for a few more minutes. Let's see what's happening in another location.
Welcome back to andBeyond Phinda. As you can see, all three of these cheetah are now eating this young impala that they've caught earlier. Amazing to see that all three of them are actually finding spots, finding places to actually feed on this impala. It's not a massive impala, and it's amazing how, you know, they are sort of comfortable with feeding right next to each other, as we spoke about earlier. What is more amazing is to see this impala sort of disappearing right in front of our eyes. I can't believe how quickly they're putting it away. The mother has started to feed now as well. And you notice when we started the show, she was off to the side and panting quite heavily. And even the cubs were panting quite a bit. And she will generally, you know, for at least half an hour after she's made a kill like this, she will sit off to the side, she will slow her heart rate, rest a little bit, and also keep a wary eye out for predators. Just as that one on the right has just picked its head up, it's looking around. You've got to be very conscious of the fact that they are quite vulnerable at the moment. You know, when they made this kill, there would have been alarm calls, there would have been things that might have drawn predators, other predators into this area looking for a quick kill to steal. You know, the difference between cheetah and leopard and lion is that cheetah will tend to be quite alert if they hear alarm calls because they know it might be another predator in the area. Leopard and lion often actually follow the alarm calls because they know it might be something that they can steal, kill something that they can steal. Much easier for them to steal one than actually make one themselves. So that's why they're particularly vulnerable, and you see that one picking its head up. Even the mom now, every now and then, you see she's looking around now, having a quick little scan, and she goes back to eat. But they are very good mothers. She'll let her cubs feed first, as we saw, and then she's starting to feed a little bit now. They do tend to take turns keeping watch while they're feeding. You can see that one has actually gone off out into it's finding a shady pup. Finding a little shady patch, and it's probably going to lie down and take its turn for watch. We're going to stay with these cheetah and send you to another live location.
Well, yeah, same spot, and Bungay has done some magic to zoom into that rainbow so we could see and find the gold spot somewhere behind that zebra. We're still getting a little bit of rain. I'm not complaining. It might bring the wildebeest back. Remember to talk to us, #WildEarth. Questions and comments are really, really welcome. Yeah. It is such a beautiful scene that I have here with these zebras that are very peaceful, grazing and enjoying their time. They are the only animals on that little patch. It's about 5 of them, and I think they're very smart to have been there. Well, about the Mara, where you see a long way there, we call them the Paradise Plains. I'm a place called the Mara Triangle, very close to Olololo Gate. The escarpment is only about 400 meters behind me, and so it's a high point where I can look a long ways down. You know how a rainbow is formed? A rainbow is formed when, light goes through rainy droplets, and when it comes out on the other side, it condenses and brings out these beautiful colors, or reflects these beautiful colors. That is what I can remember about the rainbow, and looks like the colors are getting brighter. I don't know how many you can count, but myself right now, there's supposed to be 7. I still can see purple, blue, green, yellow, and maybe red. Not all of them I can see. So if it gets brighter, we might get to see all of them, but those are the few that I can see. It is a very beautiful afternoon, I can say. I cannot complain about the rain. It's going to pass, and it looks like it might end quite soon. Somebody had requested a rainbow, and I think we've received it. Over here, these zebras actually are not very scared, and actually they're not looking up, and I don't know for what reason. Maybe they know that these are a very strategic point and predators wouldn't be seeing them.
Good afternoon and welcome to this part of the Masai Mara where we have elephants who are slowly grazing after the rains. My name is Tim, and behind camera we have Big James. We've had a big storm that passed over, and now these elephants seems like they've not been in the part of the storm. So they're slowly grazing out of the river. You can see one of them there has a bit of wet legs. Tiny calf there. See how they walk, protecting the babies. See, the baby has to be on the other side of the mother while they're walking towards the grazing. It's because we are just between the elephant mom and the calf, so we are safe. So most of the time you find that elephants will protect their calves as they're walking wherever they're going, maybe into grazing, into the swamps. And every part of the herd also protects the young ones. Seems like one big herd. We have the matriarch who was in lead, and then the sister, and then some parts of the herd. See, those two calves look like twins, but actually they're from two separate moms. This is a very nice herd. I'm going to stick here and see what and where they're going to.
Dumela, hello and welcome to Tswalu Kalahari. My name is Carl. Behind camera is the one and only Mr. David, and we are sitting here at this pan and waiting for some animals to come to this lovely life-giving water. Got a bit of shade, so hopefully some birds come in to get a drink. We've got these two beautiful bull giraffe very close, so hopefully we can have them soon coming down for a little refreshing drink. They want to come close. They have been feeding on that salt block or mineral block, so they should be thirsty. And then also we're sitting here in hopes of some new and exciting insects that we could get here at the water's edge. It's always nice now with the onset of this heat that insects go in search of water and mud, lay eggs, which is really interesting stuff. Here they come. Can you hear the black-winged stilt busy giving a little call there? Quite a young giraffe, maybe about 3-4 years of age. and it's a cooker today on Tswalu. So what we're going to be doing for this afternoon is just holding our spot here. We've got a little makeshift hide, a little bit of shade, and it's a great spot to wait out for animals to come down to this great pan. I told David I'm also going to jump in the water later and go for a swim. So you guys might see a hippo, a very white hippo, in the water splashing around. As long as it's entertainment for you folks, that's number one. But a really beautiful day. There are some cheetah tracks north of this pan, so hopefully they're still in the area. And hopefully they come down and say hello to us. You can come for a drink, Mr. Giraffe. I think he's more focused on us than actually coming to the water. So giraffe by nature are very curious. It's been some of my most memorable and funniest times in the bush is watching giraffe and their curiosity. Betsy, I jump on David's back and David runs really fast. Betsy, giraffe don't really have an aggressive nature. There have been sightings and recordings of them chasing vehicles, but by nature they are very placid, curious animals. So these giraffe, also being young, they would more than likely keep this gap between us and them. So we're in an area where they are alert right now. So every animal has its own distinctive zones. And now we're in an area where they are alert of our presence, but not threatening enough our presence for them to actually physically feel threatened or want to charge. They will tend to flee than rather fight. And if I had to get close and that animal had to defend itself, it can do it fairly well. It's one of the only animals, hooved ungulates, that can kick in all directions. And a hoof that's about 12, 13 centimeters with the power of those legs is a really heavy blow. So hopefully it won't charge us. If it does, I will let you guys know how fast David can run. But we should be fine for now. See our two shell ducks still here. Two of the chicks, the other ones have not returned, so they have gone off and hopefully have found a spot for themselves. Donovan, how much do giraffes eat per day? A fully grown bull would consume at about 30 to 34 kilograms of vegetation a day. And obviously spending a large majority of the day, 15 to 20 hours, accumulating that material. And if you think about 35 kilograms and a bull is weighing 1,000 plus kilograms, it's not a lot of food in comparison to the body mass of the animal. So on average about 30 to 34 kilograms of browsing material this animal will eat a day. There comes his friend. You can see now how the one on the left is just watching us, just locked onto us. You can see the ears pointing towards us, and he's just trying to suss out, what are we doing here? I think they're going to team up. Two of them and two of us. Do you think we can take them, David? Yes. We're going to send you off to another amazing location. We'll see you guys later.
From the giraffes and back to our elephants, who seems they're dusting off. Oh, look at that. That little one picked up a heap of grass. And the young ones also learning from watching how the elders or the older ones are doing. And that one is so much playful, that bunch of grass there. So after they've come from a mud bath or water, they sometimes use that dust because it sticks on the body and then it's a way of cooling off. Previously there was a big male that was being chased by another male. So bulls sometimes will be aggressive to one another, especially if they don't want them closer to this kind of family. Oh, that one is going bizarre with that piece of grass there. Dust bathing is common with elephants, and this is one way of cooling themselves. So they sometimes use water to cool their bodies. They'll use mud, and after maybe from a water bath, they'll come to a place where it's dusty, pick the dust, and then throw it onto their bodies. And then later on, they'll go to it. Really, thank you so much for your question. Elephants are so much protected because of their tusk. These are one of the endangered species, and their decline means a lot because their tusk actually thought that it has some useful meaning, but it was just used for carving and ornamental use. So they're protected because of their tusk, ivory, which is very, very much sought after. So the reason why these elephants are put on the endangered list as one of the vulnerable and endangered species. That bull is not happy with the other younger one. He's chasing him around. We've seen lots of commotion about here. We have about 3 bulls here, and I think he's trying to display his dominance, and that is always common when bachelors come together. He's all wet. Seems like he passed where there was rain, or maybe splashed water on his body. So these 3 bulls have isolated themselves from the herd. So it means that bulls walk alone, and whenever they come across the herds, they'll at least mix to see if one of the females might be in estrus. But if the matriarch is not happy with them, he always pushes them off. You can see they've separated, and those 2 bulls were in a kind of a clash. They're fighting off. A little bit of scratch there. How wonderful is this to come and watch elephants' interaction out here in the wild. They're very clean tusks. You can tell that it's already been raining, and some of this has been a little bit of commotion going there. So this bull is not happy. How wonderful is this to watch this kind of interaction?
Beautiful elephants, beautiful, especially in the herds. Now we found these very unique striped animals here, which is a plain or birch-hole zebra. You can see how they reposition of one another there. It's all about now the safety, understand they're in the open. It's clearly open here where they are, but the safety still counts for these animals. Usually they do that. And we've seen about 5 of them at least in this area, but also with some Impalas, and that's how they group up. But sometimes you see as they do that, partner will rest her neck on top of the other one as they look. Each one had a lot of work. Look somebody's backside for safety, and of course they have to trust one another for that. And they're able to immediately respond to a danger if there is any approach. But the tail is always doing this, even in at night. found a zebra, they're swinging their tail like this. They're very... Cassie, good afternoon. Welcome to your beautiful show, WildEarth show, your show right now. So you want to know why they swing their tail every now and then. So mainly most of the animals, they do that because of their flies. Could be a way of some animal, they use their tail to communicate. Of course, the tail is so important when they have them. Especially cats, they would use the tail to be able to communicate because they have to move silently, hunt. And then, of course, it means something every time they do their tails wagging them, every time, every now and then. And then, of course, with this unique animal, it's so because of their flies right in their back. There's no way they can get their flies. They use their tails pretty much a lot. And, of course, they're right behind them is so sensitive. And then they stand right in front of them, the neck and the ears. We do a lot of work in terms of get away the flies in everybody, the parasite most. So that's why I see the zebra every time they do that with their tail. But we're looking at the plain zebra. And with this animal, they're very much stripy, and of course, the shadow stripe is there. So they're a lot different. They're very unique. They're striped like our fingerprints. So beautiful.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Beautiful little scaly feathered weaver. Pretty little bird, and up close like this, how David is getting us, is really a great opportunity to appreciate this beautiful little bird. Yo. Sorry, there's another little beautiful bird here, a black-faced waxball that flew in. I'm just waiting for it to see if we can get a view. And then just to the left of it, there's those big, robust, white-browed sparrow weavers, also coming down for a bit of a drink. Oops. And then we've got on the other side of the pan those beautiful black-winged stilts. You can see how much deeper into the water those birds can get in comparison to the black-winged stilt that we're used to seeing here. So they really got a big advantage when it comes to feeding in deeper water. And then those needle-like beaks are used just to pluck insects out of the water. So the bird activities are really picking up. And where we're sitting is the perfect spot because they're coming down from this vegetative part on our left-hand side, and they come into the water. So it's a really good spot for birds to come into the water over here. We're going to send you off, and we'll be here.
Here we are with some three very beautiful silver-backed or the black-backed jackal puppies. We have been seeing them for the last couple of months, but they have moved quite a long way to where they are, and I think it was a very clever move for the mother and the dad, because where they were earlier and where they were born, there is too many predators. There is lions, there is hyenas. There's never a day that I go through there and I don't see, a lion or a hyena. And over here, looks like it's perfect. They can see long ways, and we rarely get to see predators here, although I'm sure they do come across here, but I haven't seen any in the last few days. Looks like it's a very fed young ones. And he has eaten really, really well. Yeah, mommy and daddy maybe brought some food. The lions made a kill down towards where I'm heading, and so maybe they found something from there and brought to these little guys. Right now, they are not suckling anymore. Look at that. How cute is that? Yes. Well, you can find up to 6 puppies in a den, but infant mortality is still very high at a very, very young age. These 3 looks like they might make it. I'm hoping they do, so we can have, a bigger number of these beautiful canids. These guys are not, scavengers at all. They do hunt for themselves, and they have endurance. They can run really, really fast for their prey.
Beautiful, vibrant yellow canary flying off. And we've got a nice flock of these scaly feathered finches, or weavers, sorry. With these name changes, you're still stuck in with the old names, and it's very important that we practice the new names. Just go to the black wing still quickly. Oh, okay, wait, sorry. There was just a little bit of displacement behavior, a bit of aggression from the black wing stilt. Opened up its wings. Obviously, with those 2 birds, they are feeding within the same area, so you would have a bird showing a bit of aggression against competitors and trying to displace its rival. So that black wing stilt can be quite aggressive. We saw it the other day dive bombing the black wing stilt itself. Very nice. Renee, are there a lot of migrant birds in Tswalu? There are a handful that are now migrating from the central part of Africa into Africa, migrants, and as well as birds coming from the northern hemisphere, so Palearctic migrants. So there's bird species like cuckoos that are on their way down, which are into Africa migrants. We've got swallows that have come down, greater striped swallows. There'll also be a few other swift-like species that have come down. So a handful of birds, and that obviously takes our bird list from 80, which is in winter, up to about 120, 130 in summer. But the Tswalu species list is recorded 280 birds we recorded on Tswalu. But so winter 80 species, and then summer with those migrants coming down, it gets to about 120, 130. So it's a good day's challenge, or a good few days challenge, going and searching for those specials that have obviously arrived and remain here for a short period. But really nice. I enjoy the migrants. It always changes things up. And also behavioral adaptations like your brute parasites and all the other sneaky birds. Really nice to watch. Yeah. There's a lot of these little weavers coming down. There's a yellow canary also coming to the water. David's going to get us in there quickly because they don't stay very long. Beautiful. Whoops. Oh, a big bird just flew over and gave them a fright. On the left, coming here, a little Namakwa dove. Beautiful. Also coming down for the water. It's like a little female. Obviously the male having that black facial mask with a big black bib. Oh, it is a male. There we go. Fantastic. What a striking dove. It doesn't look like a dove species. First time you see it, you don't think it's actually a dove. It doesn't resemble the normal dove-like shape. But a really remarkable bird. Also really well adapted to these arid environments. Oh, African red-eyed bulbul. Also a very aggressive bird, especially around a dining room table. Is this bird monogamous? I think we're talking about the finches, or the finches. They would form a monogamous pairs. It wouldn't be the same partner year after year. generally with birds, if you find that the birds are similar in appearance, they more than likely are going to be adopting a monogamous breeding system. And where your bird, where in the male category is a very, very different, striking difference, then you're going to find them in a polygamous breeding system. So these guys over here will be monogamous, not necessarily saying that it's going to be the same partner over consecutive years or year after year. But what a beautiful sight it is here at the pan. It's always really nice just to sit nice and still and just wait for nature to come to you. Beautiful. So a very abundant sociable weaver also coming to the water. That very, very strong conical beak, got a bluish greyish tinge to it. And one of the birds we see in the larger flocks here in Tswalu. Oh, bulbul also want to... Oh, look at the vent. Did you guys see that? Look at that nice yellow vent. Very easy way into recognizing this bird. We're going to send you off to a very nice location. We'll see you shortly.
Well, it's quite entertaining to sit here and just enjoy the company of these young puppies that are about 4 months old. You know, a few things about the silverback jackal is that it's a very highly vocal small carnivore. They always squeal and yell. Always, you know, you will find them very close to where there's a kill. It's a good sign sometimes that, you know, there is a lion or a leopard nearby. If you see them. Another thing is they're monogamous. They pair for life. Yeah, that is, you know, some very interesting things about these small canids. For a very long time, they were mistaken to be, you know, scavengers. But this is a highly intelligent and very efficient small predator. They have endurance, and sometimes they join forces. A pair can join forces with another 2 pairs to bring down big animals as big as a Thompson's gazelle. They have endurance, and they will chase it, very much like wild dogs. Eventually, the animal stops and tries to fight, and while doing that, they'll start eating it alive. Very ruthless, but very, very efficient. But that's when really, you know, conditions are really tough. They feed on smaller rodents, rabbits, you know, guinea fowls. They feed on them. Sorry, you broke up there, but I did hear, you know, how many puppies they normally have. Up to 6. They have up to 6. They do have which are born in a den, a very hidden spot, either hollow or a shrub. And very much like dogs, they open their eyes within some very few days. And, you know, they suckle for up to 2 months. And then, you know, they start eating solids. The mothers bring the solids, they regurgitate the solids. And in another maybe 1 month, they'll start following their parents to go foraging. I'm gonna follow them because it looks like they have either 2 dens or it's just this one here, but looks like they're going to the second one because they're following the track. Well, let me continue following them while we take you to another live, you know, spot.
Welcome back to the Mara. We have Impalas here with very small calf who are very busy running up. Look at them, how they are pronking. So sometimes these herds will split up depending on how they are. Especially this one with very small calves will be just hanging on together. Oh, that young one is so much playful. You can see them pronking, which is a typical behavior, anti-predator behavior. Very, very cool to see. And mostly after rains, you'll see most antelopes become active. So this is one way of the young ones learning from the elders. Wow, look at that. Super. Now in future, when they become independent, that is what they will do to deter away predators. And as soon as they see predators, they'll start pronking. Just like that, pronking, and then fluffing of their tails. How interesting is that? So everyone has started running, and they actually made it's like an uneven run. Oh, it's come to the road. Wow. So if a predator was here, we'll actually see that their feet, he cannot get them. And of course, they will end up giving up. It's super fast. Look at that. So this herd is going to stick around here. We can see that there's a male approaching them. Sometimes after they're about to be weaned, or when they're weaned about 6 months old, the bond of the young ones and the mother splits up, because right now they need their mothers because they are still nursing. And after that, about 6 months, they'll separate. So young males will be kicked out when they're about 3 years of age. Oh, they're going back again. Nicholas, thank you so much for your question. These impalas can run to about 45 kilometers an hour. They're super fast, and sometimes can even get up to 50. So cheetahs, leopards, and even hyenas would sometimes prey on this species here. But I've seen most of the time cheetah prefer smaller prey like impala, Thompson gazelle, Grant's gazelle, and baby impala. At this age, if a mother cheetah was here and has cubs, this is what they choose for them to train the cubs. Because at about 6 months or 7, they are trained by their mothers how to go about hunting. And a mother cheetah will come and isolate one of the young ones, then let the young cheetahs practice the hunting game. So when the males get to about 3 years old, they'll be separated from this harem. We have groups where we have a male with several females, and sometimes females will be hanging around together, and a herd that has young ones. You can see he's walking around, herding them slowly. That was a very interesting behavior to witness, the pronking game. So I'm going to hang around here and see if they'll still be pronking. And sometimes you never know if a predator might be around, and especially after the rains, that is when they choose to hunt. As I take you over to another live location.
Well, look at another beauty that I found here. The Lone Ranger. Masai ostrich. and he is in full breeding regalia or plumage. Ostriches come into season. The males, they get this pinkish color. It is an adaptation that, their skin is able to change the color. They have the pigmentation to allow that to happen, and they change it, and that allows him to excite the females, and so they can come to him. The height of an ostrich is a very good advantage, so it sees predators, and that's why it can walk in these dangerous plains casually without, being hunted, because it can detect, danger for up to 30 meters. It's got a very big eye, and it's able to use it and differentiate different things. Also, it can run very, very fast, up to around 40 kilometers an hour. Oops, something spooked him. And it can turn at very, very sharp angles, so it can get away from most predators by running and turning away. The ostrich is a distant cousin to the kiwi, the emus, and the rares of Australia. Those are all flightless birds. I don't know how it became that they can fly, but if you look closely at their feathers, they are not fused like flying birds. They are tightly weaved together to be able to hold wind, and they are, joined together by small barbs. If you observe them, you'll see that in the flying birds. With the ostrich, they're actually very tatty and very separated, so they cannot, fly, for that reason. They're on the ground, but they adapted to running and turning at very sharp angles to avoid, predators. We have 2 species of them here in Kenya, and this is the most common one, the Masai or the common ostrich. Females are gray, but males are black, white, and they get these beautiful pinkish reddish color during breeding. He is very busy eating some grass, which is in plenty. Usually very silent, but if disturbed, they'll make a noise, a hissing noise. Origami, did you say the biggest eyeball of all mammals? I don't know if it's all mammals, but maybe all birds. Let's put it that way. All birds. It's got the biggest, eye socket or eyeball. Yeah, he's walking. I don't know if he's going towards his girlfriends. Main threats to this beautiful bird are hyenas, lions, and for their eggs, there are mongooses that are known to use tools to crack their egg. And also, the Egyptian vulture is the only known bird to eat its eggs, because it can grab hold of a rock, and using its beak, it can crack open, the egg. Okay, let's take you to another live safari vehicle.
Good afternoon and welcome to Djuma Private Game Reserve in the Sabi Sands, everybody. And we've got 2 beautiful female kudu moving through the dappled green light. Hello, everybody. My name is Steve, joined by Mvo on camera, and very excited to have you with us, of course, as always, on this wonderful afternoon. Now, we're going to try and move up quickly, see if we can get you those kudu. You still get them, Mvo. I think you can still get her over there, through the gap. They are quite happy that the browse is back. Sorry for our absence. We had to fix the vehicle, so we are now back up and mobile. Marcel, our technician, is a wizard, and we're able to fix what we had broken. So on we carry, and out we go. Just love it with kudu. You think you see one, and then there's 2, and then there's a third one now. They're probably going to cross the road in front of us shortly. And when they're in the vegetation, they are quite camouflaged, very easily lost in the vegetation. But when they move out into the open,
They are rather awkward, in fact, rather awkward in the open. You see, I mean, there they're moving and you know where they are, but if you didn't know they were there, it would be very hard to see them, wouldn't it? Now, kudu are almost exclusively browsers, so they're very happy that the vegetation has come back again. This time last year, the kudu were really struggling with condition. There was almost no food for them to eat. But these guys or ladies' hips are looking good. Oxpeckers are cleaning them quite nicely. And they're definitely preparing for a very long green and wet season. Always found little family groups. You might find a solo male on his own, but he's generally with a group of females or in small bachelor herds. So one thing that does come with the vegetation thickening like this, of course, is also the stealthy predators. Now the kudu are feeding in a direction towards the wind, so they're kind of smelling as they go, and in this time of day, they're normally quite certain that the predators are not going to be too active. But they're still vigilant, still very, very keen senses. Their ears moving left to right, trying to detect any movement. Hello, Renee. The main predator of a kudu is by far a lion, although packs of wild dog will kill them as well, and leopard have been known to take the youngsters, although the adult kudu, female adult kudu, are also prone to being taken by leopard from time to time. Let's move up there quickly. Let's see if we can get another view. But lion is definitely the major predator for kudu. Hyena, I suppose, as well, when they hunt, could take a kudu down. But young kudu obviously are quite vulnerable. But I think the Pungwe pack, when I was there last time, or just before I got here last time, they took down a kudu just by our camp there. There you go, there's one on the right-hand side. The perfect height. You'll notice we get the giraffe, which is the tallest of them all, and then obviously Eland, which aren't very common here, are a little bit taller than kudu, and then kudu, and then down from the kudus, the Ngala and Impala, and then bushbuck, steenbok and duiker falling down at the bottom. So there's sort of this staggered height of animals. You won't get too many animals that are exactly the same height when it comes to browsing, so it gives them different advantage. And when you find your animals at a similar height when it comes to grazing, well, they feed differently on the grass. Some will eat the longer grass, and some will eat the very short grass. See that? Wants to know the difference between browsing and grazing. Well, most certainly the name almost gives it away. Browse is the sort of leafy material growing on the trees, as well as the herbs and the forbs, and the grass is grazing. So grazers are those that feed on grass, and browsing is those that feed on leaves. Now, many animals, namely Impala, Ngala, are mixed feeders, so they're able to capitalize on both. That gives them an advantage over the kudu, because the kudu, when the leaves are gone, they really, really struggle and they lose condition quite quickly. Whereas the giraffe, being the tallest of the tall, they're able to access whatever food is available, because they can feed really low down with that long neck, but also very high up. So it almost looks like these kudu are slowly sort of veering around towards Treehouse watering hole on our right. They might be headed for a drink, we're not sure. They know that predators are generally hanging around watering areas, so feeding very quickly in the heat of the day. Slowly make your way there and smell and listen for the presence of predators before exposing oneself. Imagine how well you would hear if you had ears like that. So browsing or defoliating that plant. Obviously these plants have got many mechanisms for protecting themselves. This time of year, there's not too many chemicals in the leaves. They're all nice and fresh and green and juicy. Even plants that are growing thorns at this time of year, those thorns are quite soft and pliable and even eaten. by the likes of the Kudu.
All right, welcome back. So fantastic questions asked about the little scaly feathered finches earlier. Yes, they are monogamous and they also do practice cooperative breeding. So that means that some of the offspring will actually help mom and dad with new chicks. And I got a little bit muddled up there with monogamous and polygamous. So generally in birds, male and female look alike. You're generally going to find them in a monogamous breeding format. And then when the male is, very different in appearance, more than likely going to be polygamous, multiple females by one male. Beautiful, beautiful southern oryx, busy enjoying the mineral block. Obviously with the soils of... Go to the right here, Dave. Sorry guys, we're just going to divert our attention here quickly. Lovely. Sandgrass coming in for a little drink. The morning we had a few more at that pan out west. This is an Amakwa sandgrass. Beautiful. Sinak, do we have any pigeons on Tswalu? So pigeons, we get doves, which are like resemblance of pigeon, but we do now and then have feral pigeons that come through Tswalu. Those are obviously pigeons that have been brought into South Africa, and people normally use them for racing or from point A to point B. And with a few of them getting out, they have started wild populations. But feral pigeon is a pigeon that we would see every now and then within certain parts of Tswalu. But its appearance is very, it's unmistakable that it's a pigeon. Yeah. You get other types of doves, rock doves, which look like pigeons. They're obviously wild versions. Very beautiful birds here. The male on the right and the female on the left. You can see the male with a little breastband, clear chest, clear head, and that female with the beautiful streaks along the chest section going down to her belly, which the pattern then changes. Male and the Amakwa dove in front of them. Just talking very softly because we actually had a Gabar goshawk come into the pan and we thought, something is going to go down here. But it's sitting somewhere just behind us, so we're trying to keep very quiet and hopefully this bird sees an opportunity and something goes down. It's nice when they sit still. Normally they're in here, grab a drink, and they're out. So having the ability or the luxury of just viewing these beautiful birds is a real treat. And look at that coloration, the patterning, allowing that bird just to blend into the environment. Starting to cool down a bit. Bird activity is starting to increase. We haven't had any mammals come in yet. Melanie, they are beautiful birds. And hopefully as we go on, we can find the double-banded sandgrass coming in here. Also very, very beautiful species of grass. They're just really entertaining to watch early morning. And then also late afternoon, their behavior. Double-banded is a species that would like to enter the watering hole just on the onset of dusk. And the communication and vocalization that happens is quite entertaining. We're going to send you off to another nice location. We'll see you guys soon.
And there you Well, here I am back with the two of the river lionesses that had made a kill very early this morning. We didn't see the kill, but we arrived when they are just breaking, into the feast. And I tell you, they have eaten quite a lot of it. And this female here is still eating it. She's still feeding on it. She doesn't know when next they're going to have wildebeest, and so she has to fully utilize everything that is available. There was a lot of meat this morning. I don't think there is much left. I can see, looks like a leg, and that is the rib cage. She's still opening it up, and that's all we can see of her. I'm sure the belly looks very, very full. Remember that lions won't hesitate, and won't lose a chance if it prevails itself. Even if they're full, they will kill, and hopefully their digestion will take place, fast, and so they can continue adding, some more meat onto their belly. Usually they get really, really, they call it fat, but I'll call it, big. And Hadil Jumbo, can lions hunt elephant? Was that right? I didn't hear the whole question, but if it's that so, yes, they can hunt elephants, and it has been documented in Botswana, and I think, it was documented on camera, where a very big pride of lion, I think there were more than 20, brought down sub-adult elephant. It took a long time for them to bring it down, but they did. Well, these animals are predators. They are super predators, very strong, and anything that is available, they can join hands and bring it down. So they can bring down an elephant. Here in the Mara, there's no need to go for elephant. There is plenty of other small game, from zebra, eland, buffalo, giraffe, zebra, wildebeest this time of the year, even smaller antelopes like Thompson's gazelle, Impala. There is plenty, so there's no need to go for elephants over here. But of course, if there was a young elephant, about 5 or 10 years, and it comes, it goes through a pride of lions that are more than 10, they will try to go for it. But yes, they do go for elephants. But it is one of those rare sightings. Actually, I think those guys that captured that were very, very lucky, and they had waited for very long to document it so that people could believe that, they do go for elephants. Yes, she's still working on this carcass. She's a very big mama, that one. She's a big girl. And I'm sure she knows. Steve Jumbo, why are there no vultures near the kill? Well, a very good question. It is very disguised. It is very well hidden. You can tell. You cannot see that from either distance. Even the angle I'm parked is the best. And so I would say that visibility is what has stopped the vultures from being here. But when they leave, hyenas will come and pull it out, and that's when maybe tomorrow morning we're going to have vultures come by. What is that she's holding? Looks like very fatty part of, it's a skin. Part of the skin. The skin is very tough. It's a few millimeters, but with a few, sharp teeth, they are able to cut it like a razor, and I'm sure it takes much longer to digest because it's much harder than the meat. Well, this was a fully grown wildebeest, which can weigh up to around 130 to almost 200 kilos. And they have devoured it. Most of it is gone. And so probably each one of them has eaten over 50 kilograms of meat. Talk about sleeping. Lions know how to do it. Let's see what another safari vehicle is doing.
From the feeding lions to our feeding elephants, I can see this family is busy grazing on the grass, and they're slowly walking towards the bushes. Now, elephants can eat grass, and they can eat both leaves and twigs. When there's no grass, they'll be taking over on branches, on trees. They even fall down acacia trees where they peel off the barks, which also help them to add nutrients in their body. You can see the ears flapping very slowly, means that they are not hot at all. It's quite cool at the moment, a very good temperature for them. So they carry on to graze as they walk into those bushes. They create pathways for other animals. So antelopes and other animals who use those paths to walk into the river get a good advantage. Here we have 2 youngsters, and I think they'll be joining the rest of the herd. I can see it's raining over in the distance. So these teenagers are almost leaving the nettle herd, and they'll leave the nettle herd when they're about 11 to 17. But once in a while, they'll be walking over back to their nettle herds, where they'll mingle with the rest of the family members and then carry on with their daily activity. Soon these two will be dominant bulls, where they'll demand also respect from younger emerging bulls who will come to join them. I can see wildebeest who are grazing. It's very nice weather where everyone is feeding. You can see zebras. We just happen to see impalas who are also feeding as well and pronking. Buffalo sleeping over there. You see how elephants are clever when they're picking off the grass. Musa, do elephants know what trees is poisonous? Elephants are super clever, and from the experience when they were growing up, leading a life where they were led by the matriarchs, they're able to understand from learning how they will browse and feed as they carry on. So that gives them an experience, and they have a very good memory where they can remember what to eat and what not. But of course, most of these plants are medicinal and have medicinal value, so they eat almost every tree that they come across. Diana, thank you so much for your question. The difference between omnivores and herbivores is that herbivores eat only plant matter, while omnivores will eat both plant matter and they'll sometimes take on meat. For example, baboons, warthogs, they're omnivores. So we find at times, because they need nutrients, find a baboon going after a young impala, find a warthog going after rodents, and sometimes you see them nibbling on carcasses. So that is the two different things between the omnivores and the herbivores. These two are slowly joining the herd who went into the bushes, and over the distance you see they're slowly joining the herd who went into the bushes. You can see cattle egrets flying over in the distance. What an evening of activity. See guinea fowls busy feeding here. These birds play an important role in our ecosystem, where they help in control of ticks, flies. So as you watch these guinea fowls busy scrapping and feeding. I'll take you over to another live location.
Thanks, Tim. Well, we found a very cool little family who've just hidden behind this tree. Little family of dwarf mongoose. They came out for us. They were in the open for a moment, and now it's just decided it's camera shy. Poor thing. I'm going to just go forward a little bit. Other side of this termite bound, there's that stick, and there's a bird there with a red face. Can you see it? Just through there. Oh, it's just through there. To the right of that stick there, you see here? To the right a little bit more. Yes, in there. Down a bit. Where you gone? There you can see it moving. My favourite bird, everybody. Green-winged pytilia. Hello. Hello, pretty birds. How marvellous. They've just come from Twin Dams, I would say. They've just been bathing. And now they're doing a little bit of a groom. Oh, hello, pretty bird. That is my favourite bird, everybody. Seed eater. Used to be known as the Melba finch. But they've been split into the green-winged and the orange-winged pytilia. Orange-winged, there's a female at the top. Hello, beautiful. And the male at the bottom with the very red face. Fantastic. And now that the bird is hidden away from us, the mongoose is out on a stick. So sometimes when you're patient enough, a mongoose is on top of the mound. He's trying to figure out what the bird's doing. What are you doing, Mr. Bird? There are lots of relationships in nature where certain animals will benefit from other animals with regards to feeding. Obviously, a seed eater like this that hops around the ground probably won't have too much benefit for the mongoose. But everyone talks about the relationships between mongoose and hornbills, how they will interact with each other. The hornbill actually benefits a lot from the activity of the mongoose, who does a lot of digging, scratching, and anything that evades the mongoose, often the hornbill is able to capitalize on. And in turn, the hornbill has got good eyesight and will warn of any predator. Very much so when it comes to aerial predators, which are obviously right up there on the danger list for this very small little carnivore. And that is home. It's on top of his castle. Home is your castle. Quite a relaxed little bunch, actually. You can tell if they're relaxed by if they run away when they see you, and they didn't run away when we first came, and we're not the most interesting thing for them. The birds on the floor are. Suppose he gets bored out there. You got to watch and see what everybody else is doing. Hello. Nice to know about this little mongoose family, a place to come and visit and maybe come and see, especially in the early mornings when they're very active, sitting on the outside of the den, grooming and doing their ablutions in preparation for the day. This time of year is spectacular for me. The green, the flowers are starting to emerge. We'll be doing some flowers over the next few days. The birds are in full song. The migratory birds are back. I saw a Namur falcon this morning. First one for me for the season. They're migratory. Come all the way from northeastern Asia to be here. They come here for the insects. Used to be known as the eastern red-footed falcon. Very long way from the Russian steppes all the way to South Africa to feed on some grasshoppers. Can you imagine? I've heard about travelling for your culinary appetite, but that is a long way for a grasshopper. Okay, well, we're going to try to stay with his family and see if maybe the rest of them come out to say hello.
I am going to go join that warthog. Coming down to the water's edge and doing a little bit of bathing is a very efficient way of cooling oneself down. And you can see that his body staying on the one side is obviously a great relief, that cool, muddy material. But then also he will roll in the mud and actually adhere mud to the body, because that mud layer becomes a nice protective layer, not only from the sun, but then also against insects, especially biting insects. But how nice is it to see a little warthog come down here? Doesn't have to go onto his elbows. Obviously the soft sediment allows his head to get down to the water, because if you look at the anatomy of this animal, it actually doesn't have a neck. So when they drink or when they're feeding, they actually have to go down on their elbows. Or he wants to go back down. You want it, you want it. Do it, do it, do it. Yes. Oh, he's making a nice little mud bath. Oh, yes. Lekker. That must feel so good. Obviously, he's taking a big risk. He has to be very careful coming in and doing that, because when he's rolling around and trying to accumulate that muddy material on him, he's taking a big risk. Oh, it must feel nice. How lucky was that? Fantastic. Enlightenment, that is a happy warthog. I'm going to go try it now. I'm going to be a happy person as well. That must feel so nice. I mean, if you get out the shower and it's a hot day, the relief of that water cooling down just feels so nice. There was another question asked about pigeons. Sorry, with these name changes, I missed one bird. So yes, we get the feral pigeon here, but the rock dove now has been changed. Its terminology is now known as a rock pigeon. So that's the second type of pigeon that we have, that we can see here on Tswalu. So two of them. It's name change, keeping me on my toes, and I like that. So see, we had that beautiful little falcon come back down, little raptor come back down to the water's edge. That gabar goshawk, so it is hanging out here, so hopefully it's going to stick out here for the afternoon. We've got some beautiful scaly feathered weavers there. The red African red-eyed bulbul. They are just striking birds. That fork-tailed drongo coming in the scene. Really clever bird as well. Especially in the Kalahari, the behavior that's been documented with the fork-tailed drongo. Are you on the drongo? It's on the right-hand side of the bush there. So on the starling, if you go on the starling, just come down into the bush, there's this dark jet black bird. There he comes. Oh, wants to catch insects off the water. Look at that. Fantastic. Very clever bird. It's always nice to see birds of different species interacting with one another. Obviously raptors coming in. Oh, the warthog was such a treat. Oh, the beautiful iridescent color of the glossy starling. Very nice. So those reflective layers within the feathers reflecting all that light from the sun just bouncing off the feathers, and that's the beautiful vibrant color that we are being treated with right now. The mako dove's busy calling. It's so peaceful sitting here like this. Okay. Hopefully we don't have a hippo coming out the water. We don't have hippos here, unfortunately. Not enough water to sustain them. And as well as crocs. Crocs are found but more to the eastern part of the country. You like my head? Good afternoon. Cobras would come down to the watering hole. We had one a couple of days ago. But you would have multiple snakes coming to the water's edge for a drink. They do drink water every now and then. So you could have cobra, you could find puff adder, you could find Kalahari whip snake, sand snake. You could find a few different species of snake coming down to the water's edge like this. So let me just look. Nothing behind us, David. Because the other day I let my guard on and that cobra came quite close to the vehicle. So you always got to be on your toes, and your situational awareness in the bush has to be fairly up to standard most of the time. Sometimes we get complacent and we let our guard down, and that's when we have funny encounters. It's really nice. It's always nice to be kept on the edge like that. Oh, beautiful. Another red-headed finch, He's on the water's edge there. It's a bird that we don't get to see very often in Tswalu. Oh, now he's flown off. Oh, shell duck busy making a noise there. Alright, we're going to send you off to another part of the country and we'll see you guys later. Hectic. Wait. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. Wow. Look at that. The birds scattered in every direction. This is a black-chested snake eagle. How beautiful. What a surprise. There was an alarm call from this shell duck, and that's what got our attention, and David was on it like a rash there. Beautiful bird. Very, very specialized bird, hence the name black-chested snake eagle. Its name is very evident, with a big, beautiful black chest going all the way up to its head. You can see the beak is designed for tearing or ripping flesh from animals. Beautiful yellow iris, and then the white belly and white legs. What a beautiful bird. So hence the name black-chested snake eagle, mainly snakes, but it will also take a variety of other prey items such as lizards. It will also make part of its diet, even monitor lizards, which is a fairly big lizard to tackle, frogs and rodents. We're going to send you off to another location and we'll see you here now. Oh my word.
Chested. Welcome back to Djuma, everybody, where I'm pretty sure these guys would also scatter if a black-chested snake eagle arrived. 2 water monitors. One is far bigger than the other one. Let's stay with this one. Show the other one, it's no problem. 2 of them just chilling in the sunshine. And look at that tail. The tail is very powerful. And look at those claws. Look at that back foot with the 5 toes. Huge claws enable them to dig and climb. These guys, together with the rock monitors, are pests when it comes to birds' nests. They're very good at climbing into trees, very good at finding nests on the ground. And also, look at that foot on the right-hand side. How cool is that? You see the bottom? Look how long those toes are. Also very good at digging up and eating crocodile eggs. They move quite slowly, as most reptiles do, but they have the potential to absolutely motor, and taking to the water when in danger. Very, very agile swimmers. Just enjoying a little bit of sunshine here on this afternoon. You'd think that they would be warm enough. It's been quite a warm day. Sitting there on that exposed soil must be quite warm. Maybe they feel like it's going to be a cold evening. So there's the one, noticeably bigger than the second one, which is just up to the right. Taking it easy on this Monday afternoon. I hope you're all having a very relaxed Monday. It is Monday, Imbo. Yes, we get caught up sometimes in the days of the week. Monday it is. Blessed Monday to you all. So obviously their biggest threat are large raptors, namely martial eagle, as well as our champion here. So I'm detailing that now. You wanted to know what animals feed on them. So leopards definitely, medium-sized cats will feed on them. I think monitors also quite predatory towards themselves, if I'm not mistaken. But large predatory birds, for the most part, large raptors, tawny eagles, martial eagle, they almost specialize in large monitor lizards. The big one has started to move now. And you'll see the smaller one there would be game to somewhat like a snake eagle, but I think a bigger one like this fellow might be a little bit big. But look at the gait, look how they move the legs, and often when you look at the track in some sand, you'll see how their toes actually drag along in the sand. So you can often confuse crocodile track with a monitor lizard track because of the tail and the body. But the monitor lizard actually drags its toes. And you can see the nail dragging. They come at this very 45-degree angle from right to left or left to right, depending on which foot, both front and back foot. So birds of prey, definitely. And I remember just before I started here, there was that wonderful video of Hosanna with the monitor lizard that he'd caught. But they are very feisty creatures, everybody. You've got to try catch one and hold it. It's not very easy. They're very powerful and they flick that tail. Their claws are very sharp and they're also very good at biting. One got into a house once years ago when I was a student, and the staff, they were terrified, and I had to get it out. And I'm not going to lie, I was quite terrified, but everybody was watching me. And so I managed to get rid of him by using a broom and a rake, by sort of picking him up. But the noises he made was frightening, really was frightening. If there weren't all those people expecting me to get rid of the monitor lizard out of the house, I probably would have just left him alone. But I had to man up and pick up some courage. They make this very deep guttural growl, and it's like a hissing sound, and the tail can flick quite powerfully and can actually inflict quite bad injury. And I wouldn't say that their teeth are very clean. So if they did bite you, it would probably lead to infection. But for the most part, they're quite skulky sort of creatures. If I went towards them, they'd run away. This individual I had to get rid of was in a house, in a wooden cabin, and was actually climbing the wall. And I had to try and get him off of this wooden wall. His claws were attached to it, so it was lots of fun. It was lots of fun. But I managed to do it without inflicting any injuries on him or myself. But it's definitely not something I would want to do again. So intimidation in nature is everything, and many animals will make lots of noise to just scare you. You're very reluctant to go after something that makes a very scary sound or a loud hissing sound. And the staff who were there that day were terrified. They weren't even able to go near the house. So it definitely does work.
Welcome back to the Masai Mara, and we've come across this herd of wildebeest who look like they diverted their attention from the river because of the little rain that just rained on this side. The grass is wet and moist, so they are enjoying this because it's also soft. Early in the day, I had seen them walking towards the river, and I thought they might have crossed to the other side of the river for greener pastures, but it seems like because it's raining over here, they've decided to stay. I can see a few zebras, and I can hear zebras calling, the stallions going, shouting and noisy about, I don't know why, but it seems like it's going to be a peaceful afternoon, evening for this herd, who I think are going to stick around here. It's so impressive how these herds have decided to stick in this. Sasikasi, thank you so much for your question. It depends on the species of animal that is defending themselves from rain. If it's the cats, sometimes they'll walk under a shade, under a tree, where they'll shelter from the rain. But the plains game, mostly, they'll be in the open. And what they do, they lower their heads and face away from the strong wind that blows or brings the rain to their faces. So, just simple as that, where you find that they will shelter away from the rain with lowering their heads and facing away from the rain. Other animals will go into the holes, like the warthogs, porcupines, meerkats, mongoose. They'll go into the hole. Some birds will go under the trees, or maybe they go into the nests. So every species have their different way of sheltering from the rain. Very beautiful sunset there, almost sinking into the Ololo escarpment. Very beautiful light. You can see the storm over there, and a topi is busy running and plonking there. This year we've been lucky because these herds have been here for almost now a month running, and normally during October, the beginning of October, we see them heading back to Tanzania. But we're so lucky that we have them still here. So it seems like we're going to spend more time with them here because it's raining, and because of this change of weather pattern, these herds depend on that. Look at how many there are. Big herds. And the few zebras that are walking and grazing with them, they heighten the security a lot, because when they see predators, they will alert the rest of the herds. So it's an advantage for them to be grazing amongst wildebeest. Beautiful light to the background as the sun is sinking in from the clouds. I kind of like the colors of the sunset more than sunrise. Very beautiful colors. Hilary, what a glorious sight. I can't agree more. It's very super glorious here. Peaceful evening of these zebras, and will be slowly grazing. The sun is almost sinking in. The wind is blowing slowly. So quiet evening for at least the next half an hour before the twilight. It's going to be very magical. Some of the wildebeest pools that are amongst here will form semi-permanent territories where they'll have the females within And as they keep on moving, this territory keeps on becoming semi-permanent. So they always walk in front of the herds to make or create a territory. And other bulls that come into those territories will be fought or chased off. You can see there's some topis pronking. Those topis are quite clever because they've chose to be in the center of all this herd. So if danger is around, then they are safe and well protected. So I'm going to hang around here for a little while as I take you over to another live location.
Welcome back to andBeyond Phinda. When last we were with you, we were with the mother cheetah and the two cubs feeding on that Impala. We've since left them to feed, and we decided to want to have a look for something else. And one of the other rangers actually managed to track down a whole pride of lion and found them for us. We've just got view of one cub at the moment, but the rest of the pride are just around the corner here. You can see that cub's actually facing them. He's looking towards the others. It's quite sweet as we were talking about the age of those cheetah cubs earlier. And if you look at this lion cub, it's about, in terms of general size, it's about the same size as those as they are. Now, we found these lions first in April. It was the first time we'd seen them, and we thought they were about 2 months then. So we think they were born around February sometimes. They're also about 8 months at the moment. Such a beautiful scene, lying down right in front of that weeping boer bean, that tree just on the left. Actually very nice to see a young weeping boer bean just right next to a young lion cub. It's quite a majestic sighting. You actually see on that tree, you can see how it's been worn away on the one side, on the right hand side. And that's from, in fact, if you zoom in, you might actually even see a bit of mud. So that's quite a prominent mud, rubbing post. In fact, these areas around here, we've got a lot of these little shallow pools, lots of mud wallows for animals to come and coat themselves in mud, and then they'll go and scratch it off on a tree like that. You can see this cub doesn't have a care in the world. The behavior between the cheetah and the lion, you see, it's completely different. Remember how the cheetah were sticking their heads up and looking around, very, very alert. And this lion cub is just fast asleep. Not a care in the world. So, Finak, in terms of what lions will and will not eat, they're being an apex predator. They are massive, and they can take down a scrub hair all the way.
I don't trust the way they look. Well, sorry about the technical difficulties there, everybody. Trying to bring you live broadcasts from wild locations can sometimes have its technical issues, but we followed up on a squirrel that's shouting over here. I'll just allow you to listen to the shouts for a moment. Little small animal day today. And the reason why he's shouting is perched up in the tree up on our left-hand side. One of our migratory birds has returned. The squirrel's who are often very unreliable, have been reliable today. Are you ready for it? Here he comes. Our dark morph Wahlbergs. Quite nearby to the nest that they use down here in the Mawati. We were on our way to go and investigate the spotted eagle owl nest, when we thought, well, let's just check what the squirrel is being so irate about. And although he's not even looking at the bird, I might investigate a bit further. You'd assume it's the bird that he's shouting at, but it might also be something else on the ground, because he wasn't looking at it. Kind of looking into the thickets over there. So I forgot to mention that obviously crocodiles are also big predators of monitor lizards if they can catch them. Have a little bit of a competitive edge. The monitor lizards will eat the crocodile eggs and maybe even baby crocodiles. But then obviously, I forgot one very important predator that I actually filmed once was a honey badger killing a monitor lizard. Now, I'm sure some of the viewers might be able to share a link to that footage from about 2 years ago. I stayed with a monitor lizard, or should I say honey badger, for an hour and 50 minutes as it removed the face off of a monitor lizard. It is quite graphic, so you must be warned if you do watch it. It's very graphic. And lizards, reptiles, when they die, don't necessarily stop moving like you or I would. So the body was very mobile for a very long time after its face had been removed. So it's quite graphic. I'm sorry for you. Don't go and watch it if you don't like those sort of things. But I was mightily excited about the whole thing. And birds of prey like this Wahlbergs would probably be able to take a small monitor. I don't think it would be able to take a big monitor lizard. It's just a little bit too powerful. But birds of prey strategy is to land on the back of an animal like that and break its spine. And that prevents it from being too aggressive or too violent, and it essentially kills it quite quickly. But we are going to move on and just investigate these squirrels a bit further, and who knows what surprises we might find. Okay, so you're still with us. Now, if you have difficulty identifying a Wahlberg's eagle, have a look at this fellow here. And you notice how the beak is not very powerful. It's not a very powerful beak. When I say that, it'll be easier for you to notice when you see a tawny eagle. First of all, you can see the feet there. Now, the feathers are everywhere. If this was a snake eagle or another bird of prey, you'd actually see legs. They can't see the legs. You must assume it's a true eagle. And when you look at the beak, it's not a very powerful, strong beak. It's powerful, of course, but it's not the most powerful beak you'll ever see. It's quite small. And when he turns his head, come on, turn your head. Wahlberg's eagles have got a very nice little sort of edge to the back of the head, a little triangle like a crest. There we go. You can see it. It just stands up there. Tawny eagles got a very round head, and their body is bigger. They are one that you do confuse with this bird with, but the beak of the tawny is far bigger, noticeably so. And obviously this time of year you can expect to find birds like Wahlbergs. If we're in the middle of winter, here you wouldn't find a Wahlbergs. Now, Sharon, I assume in your question you're talking about monitor lizards, if they'll eat their own kind. And yes, cannibalism in lizards, monitor lizards specifically, is very, very well known. And even between species, bigger monitor lizards will feed on smaller, say, for example, rock monitors will feed on smaller water monitors, and vice versa. Cannibalism is well documented in the genus or in the species, both monitor lizards. That's in Africa. I'm sure around the world there's other species of larger lizards that also feed on each other. Crocodiles are known to feed on each other as well. It is an eat or be eaten world out there, everybody. Even birds of prey are very well known to be very aggressive towards each other. They don't necessarily eat each other, but aggression can often lead to death. And while, as we've seen in many of our large predators, they're not necessarily killing each other for food, but once they have killed each other, they quite often will eat. But monitor lizards will often feed on smaller monitor lizards. It's the way of the world. Being a little fish in a big pond. Some wonderful sounds emanating from the bush.
Beautiful warbirds. Isn't it great just to see migration bird back here? And now he's looking at this swine, warthog. Looks like two of a young warthog feeding. They're not relaxed, I can tell you. We're trying to keep as much as we can at far distance of them, just to see how they really react. Usually, you can tell from the distance animal that they relax and those are not, because every time then they cannot really sure when to accept the company if they're not relaxed. But so far we're not going to just do any movement here. They might finally get comfortable, get closer to us when they want to. And they're very active during the day, warthog. They spend a lot of time during the day and they feed on grasses. This is where you see them go down on their knee, bend over to reach the grasses, but also have built up with very strong nostrils who will shuffle sand to get the roots, short grasses out of a tuft, the ground. But just before sun go down, and this is where they will go down to rest. Usually specific mound holes that will be going into those one. A lot of time they don't make their own holes, but these termite mounds have been a lot of disturbed by an aardvark, which is ant eaters, and a lot of the holes remain for anybody who will use them. Leopard will give birth to those, and these guys also can use them as a home for sleeping in every night they're around. And they don't have to sleep in one mound every day. It's got to be certain mound where they forage around every time they go sleep. They can go to sleep in one mound when they can, but when they're far, there's another one around they can go for to sleep for a night. And at night, they don't really see at all, so they won't bother getting out unless if they get disturbed. But if that happens, and they will be just running around not to see where they're going because they're totally blind at night. It looks like it's two females here. Not sure where the mother is. Usually they form group. Mother with this age like this, or they have mother around them, still taking care of them, even though she would be probably, well, they're a seasonal breeder for sure. So around, December, this is where they normally breed. So I would assume maybe the mother should be having some of their piglets somewhere taken care of, where they will be able to learn how to forage on their own before she come out with the rest of the other young one. And then they will form this called sound of the warthog, if that happened. Anyway, you find so many of a group of warthog together. And we're just going to do a little bit of a search around here, hoping for a cat this afternoon. I'm going to take you to another station, live safari.
Well, look at what we have over there. I thought I knew what it was. It looked like not a tawny flank prenia, a rattling cisticola, which is what we've been listening to for the past little while. We might still hear them calling in the distance. My name is Taylor McCurdy, and on camera with me, as usual, is Sebastian Rombi, and we are here at Pridelands, which is part of Tswalu Game Reserve. So why we're sitting in this position, we've been sitting here for maybe about 15 minutes or so, is, I'm sure you remember, the hyena den, which I don't know if it's active anymore. I unfortunately think with the last rains that we had, you can see those holes are very, very exposed, and we had an unbelievable amount of rain all at once. I think that it got flooded, and I think that that tiny little hyena cub probably was moved to somewhere else. But anyways, we popped on in just to have a little look to see if, well, there was anything happening. And we noticed some bee eaters, some little bee eaters, so those tiny little green birds with the bright yellow colors on it. And it was funny because they were hovering around the main hole of the sort of termite mound, and I hadn't seen them here before. Now they've moved on, but one of them actually went inside one of those holes. Now bee eaters typically do nest in holes in the sides of banks of rivers and things like that. But something quite cool about little bee eaters is that they actually nest in aardvark burrows, and that's exactly what this is. At one point, an aardvark would have dug in here, whether it was to find termites or whether it was to use it as a place to shelter itself during the day, because remember, they're nocturnal, so they come out at night. But it was quite cool. So we're going to keep an eye out. We might not have hyenas and things here. We know that there's a warthog that lives in one burrow up to the right, but we will try and see if this is going to be a nesting site for the little bee eaters, which could be quite cool because we've got a nice view into them. Unfortunately, we'll never be able to see right into the back or inside the nest because these holes inside the bank here of this termite mound can go in quite deep. And, you wouldn't want to get too close and disturb them, so this is quite a nice distance, but it could be quite epic to see them flying in and out, so just something different. But they've now moved on, so maybe they were just investigating, seeing if this is a suitable nesting site. We've been seeing a whole bunch of little bee eaters at the moment. They are residents, so they don't migrate anywhere, they just hang around all the time, which is also quite cool, but we haven't been able to put them live because they've been quite sneaky and not hanging around the places that they should be. But even though we're not winning right now, we will probably come back tomorrow morning and have a look. Well, that's a good question, Nicholas. You've asked about how hard would it be to dig that hole. Well, I can tell you right now, if that was all patched up and I tried to go with just my bare hands, I think my nails would bleed. With termites, when they start to build these mounds, they use soil, they use their saliva, and they compact it all together. And when it bakes in the sun, it becomes almost like cement. So it is incredibly difficult. So that's why things like, for example, hyenas and aardvark are specialists at digging, particularly aardvark, because they've got really, really big, strong claws that allows them to tunnel through this sort of hard sediment. So yeah, I wouldn't be able to. I think even if I used a spade, I'd struggle. But the funny thing is that if you do see a new termite mound, when the termites are working on it and repairing any holes or building it up, that soil is so soft and it's normally quite dark in comparison. You can see this is quite light. It's obviously all dried up now, but when it's wet, it's obviously much darker in color. So you can sort of tell that. And it's tough for them because it's easy for the birds to, of course, access them. But that's sort of the hole over there where the little hyena was living. I haven't driven around onto the other side, and I don't think Sebastian has driven all the way around either. We didn't want to make a big road around the den until we were certain that this was going to be a regularly used den site. But who knows? Now that it has dried up, maybe somebody else will move back in.
Welcome back to Djuma, everybody, and I've driven past this nest a few times, and wow, so camouflaged. Now, Paul pointed to where it was because he's seen it before with Trish and James. I've parked right here with the adults, not knowing where the nest is. Obviously, the adults are on the other side of the river, but I looked in that area, and now, I mean, if you just zoom back a bit, just keep your eyes focused on it, everybody. See if you can hold her in your shot, and we're going to just pull the camera back and show you how well concealed it is underneath this little tambuti bush on the riverbank. When I saw it, I suddenly knew, there it is, but I could not see it. Well, here we go. Spotted eagle owl nesting, and right here, about 50 meters to the right, is where I first saw Sebwig, which is last year's offspring. A very cute little spotted eagle owl chick. Arrowmark babbler's not very happy. So many different nest sites are used, from buildings to trees, but on the ground is quite well documented. And it does look very comfy, but the babbler non-stop shouting, can you imagine how annoying that must be? Okay, we can see the owl too, sir. Don't have to shout. Looks very comfortable. So that's what we call a nest scraping or ground scraping. They've clearly found a little bit of flat ground and they've just scraped it out to make a little bowl. And then the brood pouch is what's now incubating the egg. Eggs need to be incubated or heated so as to hatch. That's why you find birds spending a lot of time on the nest. And they start with the first egg laid. They'll start incubation, which leads to what we call an asynchronistic hatching, which means you'll get different aged chicks. Now, in large birds of prey, what that normally means is that they'll lay an egg and they'll start incubating and then lay another egg. It normally takes a full day to create another egg, which means that the first chick will always hatch before the second one, and the second one is essentially an insurance policy. It's very difficult for a large bird of prey to provide enough food for more than one youngster, and so the second egg is an insurance egg. And canism or siblicide is very well known in large birds of prey. I don't know of it in eagle owls though, but the second egg might be discarded or might even be broken by the first one to hatch. Difficult to say. About just around a month approximately that they'll spend sitting on this egg. Renee, I'm not certain how much longer. I wonder if someone in FC or someone back home can tell me, when did they first see her on the nest? Because it's approximately about a month of incubation. And it's only the female who does the incubating. Male will obviously go and provide her with snacks. It's very important. So it's a lot of effort that goes into that. Can you imagine sitting in one place? Obviously they move a bit and she also goes and hunts for herself, but essentially the eggs need to be kept warm. It's a whole month. I suppose it's not very long when you've been a mother yourself. You'll know that a month is a very short period of time. But a lot of time invested. So we're very excited to see this unfold one more time, and maybe we'll even catch the little owlet earlier, because last time the little owlet was just found. It was obviously already a little bit bigger. I don't really know exactly how old Sebwig was at the time. Okay, so FC is telling me about 2 weeks, everybody. So we've got another 2 weeks plus minus of incubation. So we'll make sure to come. Now that I know exactly where it is, Trishala tried to explain it to me, and I came down and I followed her directions, but I couldn't find it. But now that I know, and this pair is really, really relaxed to the vehicle. They've really habituated quite nicely. And so we will be able to document this from the beginning. Once the egg hatches, someone will be able to get some wonderful images. Hey, Mama. So once the chick hatches, it will remain in that little spot and around for a month as well. So there's going to be no missing of this activity. And, well, as I said, very exciting times.
Welcome back to andBeyond Phinda. So when last you were with us, we were with that little lion cub. He was just being very sleepy. And we decided to come back and see what these cheetah from earlier were up to. You'll remember that they were actually on a young Impala carcass. And if you have a look at those bellies, you can see how those bellies are actually quite round and full at the moment. So they have fed as much as they possibly can on that carcass. And now they've actually decided to move away. It's a brilliant strategy of the cheetah, because now as it starts getting close to sunset, we're going to get a lot more of our other predators starting to be a bit more active. You know, the lions are going to start moving around a bit more. Leopards might be out looking to hunt or patrolling their territories, and hyena also doing the same. And something like that carcass, you know, can draw a predator in. Predators have incredibly good senses of smell, much, much better than our own. And they will pick up the smell quickly if they are in the area. So this mother has moved the cubs away from the carcass just for their protection. And you can see the kind of area she's moved into. This is typical cheetah behavior. She has a big open area. And she's moved them into this nice open plain where she can keep a lookout for anything coming. It's actually quite close to where the carcass was, so she might even move a little bit further into the plain, but for now they seem quite content. You can also have a look at their postures. The cubs have learned really nicely from their mother. You can see that they are all lying in different directions. So they are all scanning different areas, sort of giving themselves a 360-degree view of the area around them. Just going to keep them nice and safe. You know, cheetah really don't have much in the way of defense. We've discussed it quite a bit at length in previous shows, but you can see that cheetah on the far right. You can see those tiny teeth. She's panting at the moment. You can see those teeth really nicely. You can actually see that tongue going up and down. And those tiny, tiny teeth. And it's because everything to do with the cheetah has really made it as lightweight as possible. They've got tiny teeth. They've got that really big nose with big nasal cavities to get as much air as possible as they run. They've got small heads, you know, very slender limbs, and even their claws aren't even sharp because they use them. They're continually not retracted so that they can use them as traction as they run. You can see that panting very heavily. That's mainly to do with the digestion at the moment. This little cheetah cub's fed a huge amount and is now digesting that food. So Kyle, it was a really interesting question on how much food is required for cheetahs per day. And the long and short of it is they need to eat about 2 or 3 kilograms of food a day. But that doesn't come every day. So what they'll do is they'll bulk feed, just like we've seen now, you know, feed on a young Impala that we saw. And, you know, I would imagine they might have each gotten close to 10 kilograms of food. There's just some guinea fowl calling off to our left, and that's what it's alerted those cheetahs. You can see that they've changed they quickly scanned that area just to see what it was. But those guinea fowl have stopped calling, so they've relaxed now. So they will bulk feed on something like that carcass that we saw earlier, and they'll feed as much as they possibly can until sunset, and then they will lie in an open area like this. They probably won't hunt for another 3 days, somewhere around there. They're not opportunistic hunters like lion or leopards. They'll really wait for a good opportunity. So we're going to sit and stay with these cheetah and see what they get up to if they do move off into a even more open area.
Well, nice to see cheetahs, but here I have lions, and our lions are slightly active, and we have visibility of these two. These are different ones from the ones that were feeding. The distance between those two and these is only very small, but they haven't found one another. The one lying down is what we call this half-tail. She always misses the tip of her tail. And that looks like one of either her daughters, because she was desperately calling. Then she appeared. We are in an area where we expect to see the cubs in the next coming weeks. They have been hiding really well. The area, you cannot go off-road, so until they come out is when we're going to see them. Luckily, the grass is very short everywhere around where they're hiding, so once they come out, we'll be able to really see them. It won't be very long now, because, they have been hiding for over 3 weeks in this long grass. These two are females, and I suspect later on they will be going hunting. Hopefully we can get to share that. But also, apart from these two, there is a very young male. I think he's one of the sons of this young lioness. He's right there, and looks like he's wondering what the two girls are doing. Males are tolerated up to the age of about 3 years, and this guy looks like he doesn't have much longer. He might get tolerated for another few months, but definitely he will be chased out. It is necessary for that to happen so that there is no inbreeding. So he can go out, either find another lone male that he can form a coalition, and maybe even, he might have a cousin who they might form a coalition. At the moment, he is very big. He is very carefree. He's big enough to bring a wildebeest by himself. And so, it's a perfect time that he leaves. I hope, he's got a cousin who he can form a coalition. I'm looking forward to seeing them all three together. But while I wait for that to happen, yes, let's see what other we can find, in another location.
Thanks, Isaac. So we arrive into this very waterhole here. Cheetah waterhole. Just a little bit of a glimpse of a croc, crocodile. Now looking at this blacksmith lover, and looks like it's getting hunted slowly. This croc was far on the other side. But it's just that, crocodile, they have a lot of energy. They can do anything they want when in the water. I don't think we'll manage to catch that little bird, but you never know. So the croc, they spend a lot of time in the water. As you can see, it hold its body in sight. Only time they want to take their own time to come up to breathe a little bit, and they go down again. And they're well capable of hunting from the water. Here it's a lot of type of different fishes, as well as catfishes, tilapia as well, and better chance that a lot of animals come down to drink here. And this is where mainly crocodile will be having a lot of chance to hunt one of those antelope coming down to drink. Good afternoon, Al-Kozuri. You want to know how fast they can swim? They're actually quite fast. Can't tell how much speed they pick in the water, but they're fast when you see them do that. Usually when they submit down the water, they use their tail to be able to move that fast. And they're similar to a water monitor lizard as well, but these are extremely fast enough to get away or get into a site where they see is anything they need to catch up and feed on. But of course, also in the land, they're so fast as well. They can keep their speed up to about maybe 20 k's or 25 kilometers an hour, which is it's fast enough to get away from the danger. And when they do that, they make sure their tummy doesn't really touch the ground. They only control them and they use their legs to be able to move that fast. And then of course they can get out at night when they want to, when it's safer for that, able to move from here to another waterhole. And then if they run out of the fishes here or water run out, then they can travel in as well. They can able to sense how far is the water. A very clever animal that. If the water is far away, for that journey they have to take, could happen sometimes about 2 days for them to reach that destination, but then they have to do it. Otherwise, they'll survive for a period of a time, or a few days, maybe a week or two, if there's no water around. And of course, for them to reach water, it's a main idea, because this is when now they have to spend a lot of time in their hunt, also from the water. And also they scavenge as well. They can take anything that's killed in the water here. And of course, they have a lot of power in the water as well. Good afternoon, your Geshwar. You want to know if this is the African crocodile or Nile crocodile. So you're right, this is a very much a Nile crocodile. And of course, pretty much of this area, entire whole Kruger Park river there, you all find many times it's all reach or an old Nile crocodile. They can get bigger sometimes. And in this waterhole, we also seen quite a bigger one. I'm not sure if it's this one but there's a couple of them here. So size of prey that can take anything from Impala, Kudus. When in the water, they have a chance of drowning the animals, really. And then, of course, some area lions taking chances of cross that lake, they'll be taken, they'll be killed. So they rely on the water, that's how they do, and killing for them, it's how they deal with or drown animals. It's quite quick for animals to die when they don't breathe, because when they're trying to take that air in to their lungs, they suck water in, so it's quick to die for such a prey. But also they have a very strong canine. Their teeth is very strong. When they bite, they don't give up until whatever it is, if they're able to survive, they have to be skin being tear off, and you see all the little bleeding animal getting out of the water, very injured. So I'm going to spend a little bit of the time here just to watch this croc, what it's going to be finally doing for us while I'm taking you to another safari life.
I'm sure that crocodile will be so happy if this wildebeest will be crossing wherever he is. Now, our wildebeest has slowly gathering here because it's a little bit raised, so they can watch over for predators at night. I just saw a hyena walk past. See how they're gathering, and some of them are walking towards another raised area because they'll shelter away from the rain when they're gathered like this. The young ones being placed in the middle, and the mothers and the males will be on the periphery of the herds. See, this one's facing us, are just watching the hyena because the hyena was trotting just in front of them. Even though hyenas are regarded to be predators who scavenge, they go after live kill. Up to 75% of their kills come from them hunting on their own, and sometimes can even go up to 80. So the hyenas will mob and run into these herds. Of course, they can't miss one or two, but then these herds have to be very cautious whenever they pick a spot for the rest of the night. I was trying to look closely on their mane, and it seems like a little bit wet. We're not far from the Mara River, and I tell you, this herd looks like they've just crossed the Mara to come to this side. I can hear hippos in the river. So when I was growing up, my grandfather would tell me it's about to rain. Little did I know, these are some of the signs that he could look when he was expecting rain. So the prevalence of wildebeest around this area tells you that there's going to be rain. The swallows sometimes will be a good indicator of rain, and other insects, sometimes the alates from the termite, the reproductive termites, the alates sometimes will be up in the air, and that will know that it was about to rain. So this is also evident that it's been raining, and it's going also to rain, with the numbers gathering up here every day. Until the predator is out of their vicinity, they'll continue staring until, okay, now they've decided to walk by, because it seems like the predator has gone, that hyena has gone. So the bigger the number, it also helps in anti-predation, because sometimes it's such a big number such that sometimes they do what we call swarm mentality, where they will run over towards a predator, and the predator will give up, run, because it's a big herd coming towards them, and they'll definitely run away from those predators. Since it's not far from the river, I hope that tomorrow they might be able to cross, because I had rumors this morning that they had crossed the river, so it will be good to see them cross again. We hardly see them cross these days, but I'll be crossing my fingers for a big crossing tomorrow. As I watch this wildebeest gather for a spot, lightning there. I can see lightning over in the distance, and that is one indicator that also attracts them as they walk in this savanna. So when they pick a spot for the night, they also avoid the bushes, because it's easy for the predators to ambush them when they're closer to the bushes. So they pick a place farther into the savanna where it's very flat grass plains, where it's easy for them to watch over predators. So as they gather a place for the night, I'll be heading off to a different area while I take you off to another safari vehicle.
Thanks, Tim, and welcome to Djuma, everybody, in South Africa, where the sun is on its way to setting as well. So, as you all know, what I love to do at this time of day is to just keep quiet and allow you to just soak in this wonderful scene.
Well, my two girls that were feeding on the wildebeest have had their fill, and it's time to make a move, and that's what they're doing. They've done it. They've done really, really well. They have utilized that carcass. I don't think there is much left for the hyenas, but whoever finds that, whatever is left, is going to be very, very happy, because there is plenty of skin and a few sticks here and there. Looks like she's a happy girl. She keeps looking in that direction. I think her sister walked that way, and she's trying not to lose her, so she's concentrating and focusing on the direction that she left the sister. Remember, this is part of the River Pride. They have been, very scattered all over, and believe me, I think the day we'll see them together, it will be a pile of lions, not a pride. There will be so many because they are scattered. I just saw 3 a while ago. I just saw 2 this morning, then these 2, and then there's the 4 that have got cubs. So their numbers is just enormous, and I'm hoping to share that with you in the coming future. She's eaten more than, I think, 50 kilos of meat, and it's time for digestion to take place. I don't think she needs to go very far, but she needed to be away from that carcass, because when the hyenas come, they might harass her, and so it is better for her to stay away from the carcass. Remember that this is the African lion, the supreme, the apex predator of the African plains, and the lions rule the plains. The lionesses rule, the plains. They are the ones that do most of Yogesh Swar, Jumbo, there is no difference. But in Southern Africa, there are parks and areas where the white lion has been born or occurs. It is just the same lion, but it's only that the texture of the mane or the hair is slightly different. We call it leucistic, where the pigmentation of the hairs can change. It doesn't affect the body, so they're not albinos, but it affects the mane or the hairs on the skin. So that's the only difference. But size-wise, lion-wise, it is the African lion. And they differ in sizes depending on the size, or actually on the amount of food they get. Here in East Africa, there is a lot of food, but also in places in Southern Africa, there is plenty of food. So it is the same lion. There's no much explanation that I can explain. Looks like she has spotted something, and she is going that way, and I don't know what she's going for. So the only thing I can do is also to follow her, and by doing that I have to do the 8-point turn in this small road here on a Land Rover. It's not very easy, but I'm going to try and do it very quickly. Maybe we should take you to another location while I do this, and once I find them, we'll definitely share them with you.
I hope we get to see that lioness again and see what she gets up to. We are still with these cheetah. You can see that the mother is actually still grooming herself. I was looking below her neck. I don't know if we can get a little bit closer there. You can actually see that there's quite a bit of blood still down by her, just below the bottom of her neck, and even sort of at the top of her legs there. I think she really probably reached right into that carcass. You can see that little ready tinge. Went right into the carcass to maybe even get a bit of the meat from the inside of the ribs or something. She managed to get blood all over the front of her. And she's actually going to probably rely on the cubs to clean that off, because it's a very difficult to reach spot. You know, they've all been grooming themselves. You can see that one cub on the left is grooming itself still, trying to get all that blood off. But there's some hard to reach places, and that's where it will benefit having, you know, two little cubs that will help groom her as well. It's so lovely to see them with such full bellies. You always worry when you see cheetah that are clearly very hungry, and because they, you know, very endangered animals, and we've only got about 7,000 left in the world, you're always sort of rooting for their survival and hoping that they're going to beat the odds. Now, the problem they face is that historically, you know, cheetah would really hunt in the open areas, these big open plains, just like the one we are in now. But with us having limited land for conservation, we've had to put up fences and try to keep all the animals in, which means that the areas that cheetah would hunt in are now overlapping with the areas that leopard are hunting in and lion are hunting in, and that's sort of putting the species under a large amount of pressure. That's why it's so wonderful to see a mother who's been so successful. She's raised 2 cubs, ready to, 8 months old. They seem to have learned from her behavior as well. You can see all of them using this time to scan around, keeping alert, very full bellies. So I think this is where they are going to stay for the evening, and they found a nice open area. They've got lots of room to scan around and keep an eye out for predators, and you can see that they all do look quite comfortable here, taking little turns to have periodic naps. So I think what we'll do is we'll leave them for now, and we'll go and see if maybe we can find something else.
I can't believe our luck this afternoon. So you're going to hear vervet monkeys starting to alarm. The Egyptian geese are not happy, but you can see that there is a leopard. And it looks like, I think there's only one cub there. I can't see because I don't want to move just yet. But I will try and get a better position in a little bit. Hopefully they go up and walk along the damn wall. But I think that it is just the 2 of them. I can't see which leopard it is just yet. We are a good 150 meters or so away from them. On the other side of the dam, we're sitting right on the southern corner of the Dwarf Dam, right outside the eco training camp. Can you hear that? There's a hyena calling now. So that's why they put their heads up like that. And I'm pretty sure that I did see the hyena move on the northwestern side of the dam, but we can't really see it very well. But like I said, I'm not going to move just yet. We're just going to hang tight here. Now, the only female leopard that I've seen with any youngsters is a female called Pixie Pan. And it might be her, but it is very, very difficult to sort of see from here. But she has got 2 sub-adults. It must be almost 8 months old now, those 2 sub-adults. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's 2 cubs here. She does also, of course, have a sister, the Des Moines female, but her territory doesn't extend as far as eco-training. We've seen her right on our northern boundary once before. We had an incredible interaction with the Pixie Pan female, the Des Moines female, and Shimungwe, which is a dominant male leopard that lives around here. This is so cool. But I can't give you any IDs. But if you can, or take some screenshots, that would be great. You can hashtag WildEarth, and we'll have a look later. She's just thinking off to the right. Look how, see how she's completely arched her back. She's quite nervous. I don't know if it's because of the hyena that was calling, and it is just off to the left. It's not too far away from her. But there's also a big herd of buffalo that moved over the top of the dam wall and into that drainage line. Oh, I wish we were closer, but I don't want to risk moving because she is slightly nervous already, and I'm worried that we do lose signal and that we do scare them and chase them over the dam wall. So sometimes I know we can't always get the best and the closest view, but for us to see leopards here at Pridelands is really, really awesome. It's so special. See that? See how she's completely arched herself? She's not happy. Hopefully she sits down and relaxes a little bit. But you can see ears flat back. She obviously knows that I'm here. She can hear me. She can smell me. She can see me. And we are at camp. So there is going to be some moving around. I'm actually going to try and reach for my binoculars because I wonder if I'll get a better view. So I apologize if there's a little bit of movement. It's just me shuffling for some things. Because, if I'm not mistaken, Pixie Pan has got a two-spot pattern. She's got the most beautiful blue eyes as well. Sorry for those noises. That's just me getting binoculars out. A very important tool. I mean, the camera has got a much better zoom. Oh, there's the second cub. There's the second cub. Yay! Wonderful. There's 2 cubs now. And thank you very much, James Richard, who has commented and said he thinks it's definitely Pixie Pan. Awesome. She's going to disappear over the top of the dam wall now. I'm so happy that both of the cubs are still around. Woohoo! This is great news. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm not going to look at my monitor right now because I would like to see these 2 cubs and I want them both to lift their tails. One I definitely know is a female, but I haven't really seen both of them together. I always see the one little girl and she's not as shy as the other one. So I don't know if Mike managed to confirm the sexes. Did you see them while Mike was here?
Only once, very briefly.
Okay, so Sebastian's saying that they only saw them once very briefly. So we've still been struggling. I can't say that we've confirmed, well, from my side, I can't say that I've confirmed the sexes of these 2 cubs, but I'm just so happy that the 2 of them are still around. Mom's obviously told them, right, everybody, let's make a move. It's so difficult to see, so quick and over the top of the dam wall. What I will try and do is go around and see if we can get another view, but I don't want to startle them. There are lots of rocks. It's quite a difficult situation to try and navigate. I don't know if we are going to get another view of them. There's no road that runs up top here. Basically, there's 2 roads, one on that side and one on this side, but it's close to about 100 meters or so from the drainage line. But a quick glimpse of a leopard is a good one.
Yes, our lioness that looks like it had had enough of wildebeest thought twice and she is back. I think she decided that there was a little bit of meat that was left and it's not worth leaving it because she doesn't know when the next meal is going to be found, and I concur with her on that. Well, when opportunity prevails itself, lions utilize it fully without, hesitating, without wasting a moment. And I have seen, and it's proof with these 2 lionesses, they have devoured a fully grown wildebeest, and the only thing left is just the bones, skin, and a few chunks of meat. They've eaten it all. Look at that. You can tell that is the rib cage. And she's feeding on the skin a little bit. Situations with lions can force them to deteriorate very quickly. And so what she's doing is the best for her. Believe me, lions have a very bad ending to their lives. Once they lose their canines, either by losing them by being kicked by a zebra, at the same time as they age, they're always grinding them against bones, and so they wear out. They are not as efficient as they were when they were young. So during feeding, competition can be very stiff, and especially when something is small. So it means their bodies start to shrink. And when they start doing that, other lioness will actually like bully them. They get, separated. And sometimes they end up becoming hyena food because they cannot cope with the pace of other lions. They try to follow hyenas, and sometimes hyenas will turn around to them. And also, if they come across other lions, because sometimes they will crisscross territories trying to follow vultures and hyenas, they will get killed by other lions. At the same time, if they don't find something, their health goes down really, really fast. Within 14 days, a lioness or a lion can look very terrible, miserable. It's a sight you don't want to see. If you've ever experienced, they look like they're walking on bones. And at that time, they're actually very, very dangerous. Anything that they can get hold of, they will hold on to it like there's no tomorrow. So it's an animal that you don't want to joke with it when it's been hungry for almost 14 days. And if that continues within a very short time, they will starve to death. It is a very miserable and bad ending for lions. But at their prime, like this beautiful girl, she is at her best, and she is making use of her health and her time. After this meal, she's able to go for at least even 7 days without eating. But if there is something that comes by, a warthog, another wildebeest, tomorrow, she won't hesitate to bring it down. Increases her chance of surviving longer, and also Yogeshwar, did you say if they have better night vision? If it's that, yes. We have almost, we have almost zero, good sight at night in pitch dark. Lions can see 10 times what we can see. If you can see 1 foot, they can see 10 feet. So it is multiplied. And as you can see, we're using infrared. It is not affecting this lioness to do her behavior because it's pitch dark. But the shining eyes, that is an evolution that they have developed. They have what is called a tapetum lucidum, which is a modified way of seeing and multiplying light at night, so they can see much, much better than we do. Well, this is making me hungry, and I'm sure, where dinner is waiting for me, so I'm going to leave her here to continue enjoying her last bit of wildebeest. And I'm going to head out, see what I can find along the way.
I love Isaac's comment that he's going to go and find a snack for himself. It's not a bad idea. I think I might do the same as well. When you were last with us, we were with those cheetah in that open area, and we decided to leave them for the evening. And we came to this open area right now to have a look for one of the pangolin that have been released onto the reserve. And we came across this male wildebeest. Now, the reason I say is male, one, you can see that he's alone. So the females will travel in herds and the males will stay by themselves. They're actually territorial when they reach their prime. You can also see, like, right in the middle of the body, you see that triangular little spot, almost like a little tuft of hair. And that little protrusion you'll see on male wildebeest, you won't see those on the females. Lastly, they're also a little bit bigger, a little bit more grey, like a black grey in colour. Now, what he's doing is he has to stay. They've got very, very small territories, these wildebeest. In fact, sometimes you can even see, more than one wildebeest from one spot. So you can see one on the one end of the plain and another on the other. So incredibly small territories. And he stays in the territory just like this and waits for herds of females to come in to his territory. And while they're feeding there and drinking there, he's going to try and keep them there for as long as possible. But in the meantime, until they come, he's got to stay here and sort of protect his territory from any other male wildebeest that want to take over this one. You can see that it's a really good territory. Some really nice luscious green grass. And you can see just by looking at him, that he's really in his prime. He's in beautiful condition. There's not a single mark on his coat. And you can actually see the muscle that he's got all around those legs. So he is in his prime, and it will be difficult for another wildebeest to actually chase him out of this territory. So he's just going to stay here. What he might do is if he finds, he's just feeding at the moment, if he finds another herd of animals, or if Impala or something were to go into this open area, then he'd probably stick close to them while they're here, just for added safety and security. Now I find a nice green patch of grass he's just slowly feeding on. Another sign that he's a male, you can see it nicely from this angle. If you see how wide the horns are, the width of them actually extend past the length of his ear. There we go, you can see that. You see just as before they curve up just after the ear. And that's a way to look for the difference between the male and female wildebeest. Female wildebeest, the horns actually extend the same width as the ear, and then they curve up. So they're just slightly narrower, slightly shorter in width. So you can actually see him exhibiting fairly similar behavior to this cheetah. Because he's alone, he feels quite vulnerable right now. So as he feeds, he also picks up his head every now and then and has a look around. Lois, in terms of antelope's teeth lasting a lifetime, you know what, I think it's just their structure is similar to us, and they don't have incredibly long lifespans. So, they will wear down, just like human teeth do and elephant teeth do, but because they have shorter lifespans, you're looking at like 15, 16 years for some. Drafts are about 21. Wildebeest, I think they're around 17 years. I might be mistaken. But they don't have incredibly long lifespans. They don't have a huge amount of time for those teeth to wear down. So I think that's the main reason that they actually don't end up, having teeth worn down to the extent like elephant do. Elephant have 6 sets of teeth, and generally what happens is when they eventually pass away, it's because they've worn down their last set and they can no longer feed. And I think just based on the shorter lifespan, that won't happen to the other antelope. It's a very good question, though. I've never actually thought of that. It's amazing kind of questions that run through people's minds. Such an interesting point of view. And see, he's looking at us now. And wildebeest are always quite funny to watch. They're not the most attractive animals, but they are beautiful in their own way. It's really turning into a stunning evening now. There's, a slight breath of wind. If we zoom out, we can see the pinkish hues that are coming into our sunset. We've got these lovely grey clouds. And it is incredibly quiet. Here you can just hear like little crickets going. Can't even hear birds calling at the moment. Look at that sunset. There's something really special about being on safari especially sunrise and sunset time. So I think what we're going to do is we are going to take this scene in and sit here and just appreciate it for a little while. Yeah, the comments are saying that it is so beautiful, and I wish you were all here experiencing with me. I suppose you are actually experiencing this with me. And it is quite an unbelievable scene that's sort of rolling in front of us. And the beauty about the bush is, you know, there's so much excitement. There's that, you know, that whole feeling of you never know what's going to happen. But also it's your senses really coming alive. You know, you forget to use your ears to listen, and you don't really try and smell too much, and you don't look too much when you're in cities. When you come out here, suddenly your senses are alive, and you just, you know, listening to all the bird calls and the crickets around you. You're smelling, you know, the fresh dung or the fresh grass smell that's in the air. You're constantly looking in trees, under them, trying to see what you can spot. And there's this amazing sense of peace that comes with all of that. You can hear the first fiery-necked nightjar starting to call in the distance, which is the signal that it's starting to become evening here. You know, there's certain birds that will start calling at dusk. Fiery-necked nightjars are one of them. Another one is a water thickney. You hear them often calling at night. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to take this in a little longer, and we are going to send you off to another live location.
Guys, we have a brown hyena just behind that tree. Hopefully it walks out to the right of the pitch and we can get a beautiful view of this magnificent and very shy, elusive animal. It's just starting to move slowly to the right. Oh my word. Beautiful brown hyena. See how the kudu are staring it down? What a magnificent animal to see. Early evening like this, they'll set off in dens, and as the night approaches, they will start to go in search for food. In areas like this, they can be almost purely scavengers, but other parts of the country and a little bit higher up north, northwest, in Namibia, they can become very successful hunters. On seal, there comes a jackal on the right as well, coming to the water. Oh my word. As that cool temperature started to set on us, this is where these animals have become very, very active now. Decided to lay down. This is crazy. Oh my word, my heart is beating so fast. So it's really special to see these magnificent carnivores during night, just fleeting glimpses within the spotlight. But sitting and waiting out at a watering hole like this, you can be rewarded. Your patience can be rewarded with a magnificent sighting of an animal like this. So not as social as his cousin, the lion. Likes to be by himself, especially foraging. They do den in the communal dens. And he's just come down to the water's edge and he's just taking it easy right now. So I'm talking really softly just so I don't disturb him. There's his Kudu drinking. big flock of social weavers took off. I don't know where to look. Just getting a glimpse of a brown hyena is a treat, but for it to be sitting down like it shows us that it's not really bothered by our presence. It does know that we're here. It came to the water's edge and definitely could see us. The wind direction's in our favor. They've got very acute sense of smell. Oh, Kudu's now looking at. Obviously it's no threat to the Kudu. Debbie, you've taken the words out of my mouth. This is very, very cool. People travel far and wide to come to Tswalu to come and look for these very shy animals. They don't like a lot of disturbance, and when they're foraging, they like to be by themselves. Even coming onto a carcass, they'll come way after the other carnivores have moved through. They don't want any conflict. So being able to sit and view an animal like this where it's not threatened by us, its behavior is not altered, is just such a treat. So Kalahari is spoiling us towards the end of the afternoon, you know. Not that she hasn't spoiled us when we've had that black-chested snake eagle, those beautiful sand grouse. Wow. Kudu bull down the left, very cautious. We're going to send you to another location and we're going to hold out here for you guys. See you now.
How special, everybody. Brown hyena. I've only ever seen one in my life. Very, very cool to see. That part of the world is where they're abundant, or far more abundant. I believe there's been a competition in the Kruger for a long time. If someone can get a brown hyena on camera, they win some sort of prize in the Kruger. Obviously, they get heavily outcompeted by spotted hyenas. And as you've seen watching this show, how many spotted hyenas there are in this area, in the Great Kruger in general. Lots of them. It's a lion as well. So we've had a wonderful afternoon. I'm glad many of you had some very nice comments about that sunset. I'm not going to lie, I do quite enjoy it myself. I do quite enjoy sitting and just being quiet in the moment. It's probably one of my favorite things to do with the sunrise or the sunset. Blessings to be able to just sit in nature's beauty and glory and just to quieten the mind. You might notice I've got some protective eyewear on at the moment, wearing the spotlight, using the spotlight. Insects go bing straight for the face. So very, very important. The eyes, my eyes are probably one of my most important assets out here as a guide. Eyes and ears. My nose doesn't do me too badly either, I'll be honest. But eyes, you've got to look after those important things, don't we? Next thing I walk around looking like Hukumuri. Thankfully, I haven't yet had an insect hit me in the face that damages my eye to that degree, but it is very uncomfortable and it can lead to accidents. Boy, you don't want me to crash into a tree. I do, because I got an insect in the eye, no. Well, a wonderful evening. It is so nice and the temperature is just fantastic. Such a nice afternoon out. And we've found so many little small things. It's been really quite special. You just take your time to look. So, we were in Tortured a moment ago, just seeing if we could find maybe where Tandi might have gone with her cub. But no sign of her moving around. This is a road she frequents quite often, so we might be lucky. We often have a last-minute leopard at about this sort of time.
Oh my word, it doesn't get better than that. We were definitely rewarded with a very special treat. The animal has moved off, and you can hear from my smile, and you can see that was incredible. Being that close and not disturbing that animal is such a treat. Really, really is a special, special moment. And how wonderful, I know I keep on saying it, but how wonderful is that we could be able to share that with you guys. Absolutely marvelous. Breathe, Carl, breathe. Whew. Wow, stuck in bed. What is the best or worst part of my job? Okay, so everything about nature is the best part of my job. I don't think there is a worst part, to be honest. I really don't. Maybe... Oh, no, I can't say there's a worst part of our job. We are very lucky. Obviously, being out in the open all the time, we're very privileged and something that we really do hold dearly to us on a daily basis. Wow. I think the worst part is that I can't have everybody here personally with me, being able to see everybody's reaction. That might have to be the worst part. But I'm still very blessed that we're still able to share this with everybody, because it is something that we need to share. The wonders and spectacular complexity of nature is just so incredible. A lot of these ring-necked doves coming in for a last drink, and then if Glenn can get that action on the water, suddenly see, Glenn's talking about me today. Unfortunately, he's left us, and I've said Glenn's name twice. He must be talking about me. That's why I keep on saying his name. But there's a lot of action. If David can get the action on the water, a lot of eruption from aquatic insects have started to become very, very active. It almost looks like there's little raindrops hitting the water's surface, but those are from insects underneath, hitting the surface and breaking the surface of the water. There'll be mosquito larvae, it could be tadpoles, it could be dragonfly larvae. Incredible. But a beautiful sight that we have, the Coronaberg, obviously a nice different view for us, putting on its evening dress for us and showing us that the sun is obviously doing its job, has done its job. And we're just waiting out here for any last little surprises that we could share with you folks. James, that's a very broad question. Birds, generally, their behavior across the board are pretty generalized. I'm sure you would get specific behavioral traits to certain areas, definitely. But on account for me to recall right now, I would be lying if I could tell you one. So maybe that's a good research question for me tonight to go do some homework. But yeah, what a marvelous day it's been here at Tswalu. And obviously from what we've heard, you guys have had a fantastic day with our colleagues on the other side. And it's been incredible to have you guys with us. What a beautiful day. So don't forget to join us tomorrow on a marvelous sunrise drive. We're going to keep this energy and the spectaculars, all the wonders of nature to continue. I'm just still so excited. Beautiful. Yeah, but obviously this is made so much better with all you viewers with us. And thank you for the questions. Thank you for the time. Most importantly, that there. Thank you for the time. So be sure to join us tomorrow from us here at Tswalu. We wish you farewell and see you later. Cheers for now.
Africa is very special, and when you come down here, even when you're watching through our camera, the landscapes change from desert to bushveld to up in the Masai Mara where there's grassland. That means that the biodiversity changes.